I'm causing mayhem every motherfucking Mondays from now on, and I want y'all to bring it. No, you got your man out there doing bigger and better things, okay? And I blame, Trey asked a good question. How did it get so bad? I blame y'all. Because y'all been sitting on the fucking sidelines, letting these women do this bullshit, not setting boundaries, not telling women no, fuck off. And that's why we do what you allow us to do. You are one I love to hate and hate to love, but at the end of the day, I love you, baby girl. Come on the battle, let's go, please. Let's go. You're going to be in market, but you might go back limping. What's going on? What's going on? To all my embracers, you know what it is. Monday Night Mayhem on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. You know what it is. And tonight we're going to talk about a topic that is very sensitive and very touchy. Of course, this topic was brought upon me by my subscribers, especially one that likes to be a thorn on our side, Travel One. And because she feels that I don't talk enough about positive things about Black women and what Black women goes through. So she wanted me to do this. She requested it, and I'm here for the people. I'm going to give you what you want. Okay? There's one more topic that I feel very strongly about that I'm going to put out there too, concerning the African American woman, that is very detrimental, and we need to learn about that. But that's all another night. So I asked BMU, let's say a prayer before the show starts, due to the fact that this young lady, her life was taken, and we're going to talk more about it. So BMU, if you could just lead us in prayer so we can have a good show and we can have divine intervention in this show, because it gets deep. So with that being said, BMU, go ahead and lead us in prayer, please.
All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Father God, we thank you for this moment that you've given us to be alive, to be living, to give you reference. We ask that you cover the show tonight. We ask that you look over this topic. We ask also that you be over the family, cover the family and their bereavement right now for Sonya Massey. We already know what happened. We already know what happened, but we know that you are a comforter. We know that you are the King of Peace, and we know that you have so much comfort, more than we can imagine. So we ask that you cover that family, cover this show, cover Embrace the Grace as she tackles this topic. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. Yes, Trey, I wanted you to come here tonight because I needed you, and I need your contact information because I need to be able to grab you and talk to you when I need to. But thank you for coming, Trey, because you were the main one that I wanted you up here, because you can actually talk on both angles. The fact that you were a police officer and the fact that you were an African American police officer. So if nobody knows yet, and we have two videos that we're going to show. We're going to show the news, and then we're going to show something else. And I have to say to you guys, the fact that this is still happening in 2024 is absolutely freaking mind-boggling to me, because the color of somebody's skin African American people, well, no, melanated people are twice likely to be shot and killed by a police officer. And I'll bring the resource, where I got that information from throughout the show. I don't just be pulling crap out of my butt. I do my research. So with that being said, young lady calls 911. And guys, I'm actually shaking while I'm talking about this because this is crazy. I have a black son, and I intentionally and mindfully did things as I was raising him due to the fact that he is a young African American young man. And I'll tell you a couple stories. You know, like my queen says, let me share something with you, and I'm definitely going to share this story with you. But 31-year-old black female calls the police for help because she thinks that there is an intruder, and that one phone call cost her life. Left behind an 18-year-old son. So with that being said, I mean, if you've been living under a rock and you don't know about this, we're here to inform you. And guys, let me say something to you about the BMU network and me and everybody that's on the BMU network. We talk a lot of shit. And we go back and forth and we get in heated arguments but at the end of the day, you don't know what happens on backstage. We all do get along, and we all a family. The fact still remains is that all of us have good intentions. All of us want to see better for ourselves and each other. And we also throw in a lot of comedy because sometimes you need to when you talk about very sensitive topics. But the fact remains is that I need you guys to keep in mind that we're doing this because we want to make the world a better place. So with that being said, she was deleted simply because there was a cop that was not or lacked emotional intelligence. So with that being said, BMU, let's go ahead and don't forget to put fair use because it is a news cast that we're going to see. So go ahead and show the clip and let's watch. And we're going to see the whole thing go down. Go ahead, BMU. Please.
Shocking body camera video released today shows the deadly police shooting of Sonya Massey. The mother of two called 911 just before 1 a.m. because of a possible prowler, only to be shot by a deputy inside her own Illinois home. The now former deputy faces 3 counts of first-degree murder. CBS's Roxana Saberi has the video that shows the chaotic moments, and we do want to warn you that it is hard to watch.
The body camera video reveals the events leading up to the horrific scene.
What took you so long to answer the door?
Oh, I was trying to put on some clothes, sir. I'm sorry.
You doing all right mentally?
Yes.
Sure?
My medicine and stuff.
All right. Okay.
I love y'all. Thank y'all.
Inside the home, Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson can be heard asking Sonya Massey to check on the stove.
We don't need a fire while we're here.
Within seconds, things become tense.
Where you going?
Huh?
Where you going?
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Huh?
I rebuke you in the name of
God, I swear to God, I'll shoot you right in your face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Massey starts to set down the pot and apologizes. Grayson fires 3 times, striking her in the face.
Headshot wound to female, 1078.
Prosecutors say Grayson's partner tried to give the 36-year-old first aid, even though Grayson discouraged him.
I'm gonna go get my kit. No, she's done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot.
Wow. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm telling you, it's crazy. And I know a lot of guys, a lot of my embracers and everybody on BMU don't know this about me, but I actually went through the police academy. I passed my CJ bat. Trey, you know what that is? On the second try. You know, I knew one section that I did horribly on. So when I failed the first time, I went, got the book, studied it, that section only. And then I went and took the test again a month later and I passed it. So I was going through, but because of I had heel spurs on both feet, and they weren't, anyway, it didn't happen. And my mom was going to do everything she could for me not to become a police officer. I actually love police officers. I've dated police officers. I respect police officers. I respect what the uniform stands for. I respect their job description, to protect and serve. But it's police officers like that make the good cops look messed up. All it takes is a couple rotten apples in the pile to make it look bad for everybody. And I hate that. I hate that, because at the end of the day, we need our cops. You're in trouble, you call 911. Cops is people that we love to hate and hate to love, but they're needed. They're necessary. They bring order, but they also cause chaos at the same time. So I'm really stuck with this, because it's like, here we are depending on people that protect and serve, but they're treating the melanated community like that. It's like, what is really going on? I'm telling you guys, I'm flabbergasted. There was no imminent threat. His life wasn't in danger. She didn't have a weapon in her hand. She called the police for help. And then the fact that he answered, "Are you okay mentally?" Bitch, are you okay mentally? I called you because there was an intruder. You ain't got to check in on me. So the whole call already started on a bad note, on some bad energy shit. Like, it's like, what took you so long to answer the door? Like, damn. I would have been like, "Officer, I was loading my magazine." Well, I probably not, because if that happened to her, and guys, don't think for a minute that I have not experienced situations like this. Situations like this, because of the fact that I've been pulled over simply because I was driving a nice car. I was questioned with things simply because I was where I wasn't supposed to be. I have experienced that. Let me share something with you. My family in Florida, we lived in a predominantly white neighborhood. So at 9 years old, I intentionally, mindfully got my son a state ID. And he was like, "Mom, I'm only 9 years old. Why do I need to why do I need to have an ID so young?" I said, "Because if you get hemmed up, you can show people that you live in this neighborhood." I see people don't understand that you have to raise a black child or a melanated child different from a Caucasian child, due to the fact because they experience different things. I remember the lady at the bank, we were comparing notes on how we raise our child, and she was trying to tell me that, oh, all children are the same. And then I brought that same story to her about having my kid for an ID. And thank God that I did, because there were a couple times where they were being harassed and a Karen called the cops, and he was the only one out his crew. He had an ID, and he had to prove, because you're supposed to be innocent before proving guilty, but we all know that we're all guilty before proven innocent. So with that being said, he had his ID, he showed the police officer, and Karen had no choice but to back off. So with that being said, let me just talk a little bit about what's really going on. Sean Grayson shouldn't even have been hired on the department, in my opinion. He had been discharged from the Army for serious misconduct and had a history of driving under the influence, records show. He also failed to obey a command while working for another sheriff's office in Illinois. And he was told that he needed high-stress decision-making classes. And none of the agencies that kept hiring him revealed all this. And I laughed at myself when I read this, because when I became a manager at 18 years old at McDonald's, I guess I was too rough. My accent was too New Yorkan, and they felt that I needed to take cultural adversity classes. So if a fast food chain can take the resource, the time to send me a whole week to take classes on cultural adversity, why can't the police do that? Instead of defunding the police department, which I think it's asinine, let's reallocate funds into more training, psychological training, more mindful training, and really vet these people that we're hiring to protect and serve us. The autopsy report showed that she was killed by a gunshot wound to the head. She was shot beneath her eye, and the bullet exited at the back of her neck, at the back of her neck and under her ear. So it was immediately DOA. Immediately. That's why you heard him say, no, she don't need that medical box. She gone. Because he knew. He knew. Which the way that he shot her is indicative that he shot her in a downward trajectory position. It's crazy. And by the way, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to go over to my channel and like the video as well. We have to support the network, and we have to support all the content creators. This is really bad, guys. The fact that did we not learn from George Floyd, Breonna? Did we not learn about what's with the kid, Trey Martin? Even though that wasn't the police, but still the trigger happiness of the melanated community. It's like, you can't walk down the street without feeling comfortable. You can't drive a car or a nice car without thinking that something may happen. What is really going on? It's crazy. And the funny thing is that African American people, who account for 13% of the US population, accounted for 27% of those fatally shot and killed by police in 2021. According to the Mapping Police Violence Report, it's a nonprofit group that tracks police shootings. That means, again, and I repeat, that means that Black people are twice as likely as white people to be shot and killed by police officers. So this is why I say, instead of talking about defunding the police, we need to redirect funds in a more productive way. But to keep doing what's happening out here is absolutely ludicrous. Here we have a mom that's been deleted, left behind a son for simply calling 911 and thinking that there was an intruder. Wow, guys. I'll tell you, boy. I saw somebody come in. How are you tonight? Somebody there? No? Okay, so with that being said, we have a couple more videos. So BMU, go ahead and put the video that you were talking about.
Every video, every angle, and I don't care what anybody says, the man is guilty, 110% guilty, and needs the death penalty. And if you don't agree with me on that, just scroll on. I've watched every video, every angle, and I don't care what anybody says, The man is guilty, 110% guilty, and needs the death penalty. And if you don't agree with me on that, just scroll on. What I seen was a 6'5", 300-pound man with a woman on her knees, and I don't care if she was throwing a pot of boiling water. All he had to do was step back. He didn't step back. He told her he was going to do what he did, and he did it. And there's no excuse for it. He's guilty in my eyes 100%. And the people that keep leaving these comments on that post, all I asked was, one, leave political stuff out of it and just say her name, Sonya Massey. I hope the guy gets a death penalty, or at least life in prison for what he did. There was no excuse for it. That's not a justified killing, and I don't care what you people say.
The funny thing is, maybe if they hear it from him, they'll believe it. But if that was a high-profile, melanated person, it wouldn't be taken seriously. Well, you know, Ben Crumble is already on the case. They keep that man in business because of everything that's going on. I did another show, and he took the case when a lady's check was being withheld at a bank. I mean, what is going on? It's 2024, people. Why are we still going through this? See, these are the kinds of things that we need to protest. These are the kinds of things that we need to fight for. These are the kinds of things that we really need to get in there. Because honestly, and you guys may get mad at me on what I'm about to say, but I don't mess with Black Lives Matter. Okay? Because all lives should matter. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the emphasis that a Black person's lives matter more only when somebody of another race deletes them? But what about when we're deleting each other? Shouldn't it matter then? All lives matter. And then look at the foolery that's going on with that organization. I don't have to get into it because you guys know what's the deal with Black Lives Matter. All lives should matter. But it seems like in the world that we're living nowadays, you do more time. Michael Vick did more time for the dogs situation than for a person deleting a human. We don't value life anymore. We don't care about each other anymore. Like my dad used to say, and God bless my dad, hooray for me and fuck everybody else. That's the attitude that a lot of people are walking around here with. There is no collectivism. It's all individuals. Nobody thinks of the next person. And that's sad. And that is what keeps us, and that is exactly what they want, to divide and conquer and delete us. Absolutely. If you guys think that this was a horrible thing that happened, put a 1 in the chat, because I really want to see what everybody feels like. And if you think that it isn't a horrible situation, put a 2 in the chat. And there's no judgment here, because I would like to hear people's perspectives, what they think, what they have to say. What would you do if that was you? I really need to hear from you guys, because this is absolutely crazy. Absolutely. I'm muted, my bad. The mute monster got me, and he got me good. But we as parents already worry about our children. We pray over them. We hope the best for them. We teach them everything that we know. But it's just an extra layer, an extra thick layer when you're melanated and you have a melanated son. I used to tell my son, yeah, we all love you in here, and we all think you're the greatest thing next to sliced bread. But once you walk out that door, it's a whole different story. So you better learn real fast, quick, and in a hurry that this is a cruel, cold world. But don't change who you are. Don't change your blueprint. And it's really sad that I have to teach my son that when he gets pulled over, I don't keep the registration or the insurance in the middle console. I keep it on the visor so he can easily get it and hand it to the police officer. I had to teach him to put his hands on the steering wheel. He already he already knows to speak to adults respectful and mannerly, but I had to teach him speak when spoken to. Do not get slick out the mouth. Just do what they say. Because at the end of the day, police officers want to go home safe to their families too. If you ever wonder why they have 8 cop cars for 1 car, is because the motto is strength in numbers. That's how they move, strength in numbers. So if you guys ever wondered why there's 8 police officers for 1 car, that's why. Strength in numbers. And that's how we need to get. We need to unite. We need, and this is, again, we know it's election year and it's election season right now. This is why it's so important to vote in your local districts, county, state. The presidency is just a show for the world. The president is just a puppet master. He can't do nothing without the House or the Senate. Do you guys realize that? So you have to do your research. You have to see who we're putting in there as judges, as prosecutors, as who is running our city council. Nothing changes if we don't change nothing. I'm going to say that again for you guys. And this could apply to anything. If you want change, you have to change things. Nothing changes if you don't change nothing. So instead of all the time that we spend, and I'm guilty of it too, because I was looking at my Yankees and Boston Red Sox last night, and I was thinking, wow, look at all those people at that game. I wonder if you could get all those people to go to church. Our priorities are fucked up. We're not, look guys, I am on my spiritual journey. I'm reading my Bible more. My connection with God is getting stronger. And let me tell you something. This was demonic. The fact that she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I don't know if some of y'all can see it, but I feel it. And I told you I was getting goosebumps while I was watching that video. She triggered a demonic spirit. And I know you all may be thinking I'm off the wall right now, but the ones that connect with me and embrace me, y'all get it. And then she said it again. I rebuke you in Jesus' name. That to me has, hey Boz, how you doing, baby? Nice to see you. Exactly, Milani. Black lives starts with us. Absolutely. But we're too busy doing other shit. We're too busy worrying about who the Joneses. We're too busy doing other stuff, but we're not busy enough to make positive, productive changes within our community. And then people from the outside want to get on my ass about that I don't have no business talking about these discussions because I'm non-black. Well, like I put out in my short last week, at least I'm out here trying to do something. What are y'all doing? The ones that like to point fingers, the one that love to talk shit to my queen, take heed to the message. because she got some gems to drop. And by the way, catch her every morning is like clockwork. I was talking to BMU tonight, saying I might literally change my work schedule just so I don't like to see replays. I want to see it live. I want to see her talk her shit the way she does live. We out here. I'm out here taking surveys, talking to people, talking to the men so I can bring back the information to the women. I'm talking to the women so I can bring back the information to the men. I'm doing the research. I'm taking the time. At least I'm doing something. What are y'all doing? The ones that like to point fingers and shame and salt, you know? Hey, boss man, how you doing? In 2 months, y'all won't care. Trey, I saw your comment and I get it, but I still would like your input. Come on, man. You are from law enforcement. And it's funny because I used to date an African American cop and he refused to talk about anything. He would not indulge anything with me when it came to situations like this because I'm sure he was caught in a hard rock, in a hard place. It's a thin line. Why do little kids don't want to be police officers anymore. We don't respect the uniform like we used to. But it goes both ways. I gotta give it to my police officers in law enforcement too. Shout out to y'all. PAL, Police Athletic League. Trey said it's not worth it. Too many emotions. Everybody is just bringing up their personal stories. But you can still put something on it, Trey. Come on, stop being so hard-headed with me. We need your input. Teach us. Show us. You lived the life. You was a patrol. You was on patrol. You narcotics. I don't forget shit. I listen well. You did the do. You did the damn thing. But when you have police officers like this, it brings it back to it just, guys, I'm so hurt by this. I'm hurt that she left a son behind. Now he has to grow up. He's 18. Now he has to grow up for the rest of his life without a mother just because she called the police because she thought there was an intruder. Come on. We gotta do better. If anybody wants to come up here, anybody wants to talk about this, I welcome it. Maybe y'all could teach me something, tell me something, because how is this happening? The funny thing is that after all the attention of Black Lives Matter that led racial justice movement generated by George Floyd's death in 2020, new data show that the number of Black people killed by police has actually increased in the last 2 years. So you're right, Trey. In another 2 months, this won't mean anything. The next one, and another one, and another one. And they'll use the New Jersey shooting next, even though it was reported she had a knife and a knife was recovered. But I get it, Trey. Some are justified. Some are totally not justified. It's like she didn't do anything. She didn't do anything. He told her to go to the stove and lower the fire on the pot. And he didn't want to fire. And the police officer told her what he was going to do. And he did it with no qualms. No thought. Now, this is very disheartening. And this hurts. This hurts me, and I'm not even Black. Does it hurt y'all? Does it hurt? Hi, Catalina. How are you, baby? Does it hurt y'all? Or does it only matter when it happens in your backyard? Are we stomping on the courts? Are we protesting? I mean, what are we doing? Are we just going to let things happen? I don't give a fuck. It says police departments need to stop hiring military rejects. If the service don't want them, why do we? I agree with you on that. But it wasn't that he was a reject of all of that on IDGAF. Try not to curse so much. Is the fact that they didn't do their homework. They didn't vet him. They didn't check his. They didn't check his background. They didn't dig deep enough. Why are you hopping around? Trey Taylor says he wasn't a service reject. Well, I mean, Trey, he got discharged from the army for serious misconduct. I mean, he got dishonorably discharged and had a history of driving under the influence. He had two DUIs under his belt. I mean, what are we doing here? Do we not call references anymore? Do we not talk? Do we not talk to people? I remember while I was going through the process to become a police officer, they was calling all my people in New York, trying to find out my character, trying to get references about me, I mean, because my family members would call, hey, are you? Because I didn't tell a lot of people that I was trying to be a police officer, and because I wanted to accomplish that and then tell people, because you got to move in silence sometimes. You can't tell people all your plans, because some people would pretend that they're happy for you, but they're really not. And I don't like to put negative energy on my plans. I'll put God's hand in it. And they would call me, hey, I just got a phone call, and they were asking me questions about your childhood and this and this and that. So why don't we do that for the hirees? We do it just one time at the beginning of the initial application process. Again, Trey, you're right. I may not be qualified to talk about this, but I sure am human. I am melanated. I have gone through some shit. Let me tell you what was the nail in the coffin that made me. I stopped. I changed majors. In college, I was in law enforcement. I was in the criminal justice program, was doing really well because I like that. I like all that type shit. I like the action and every day, and I love helping people. That is my purpose on this earth. That is what God told me I am to do on this earth. But at the same time, sometimes I'll read that as soon as I finish my thought. Sometimes helping people too much can hurt you. So I figure if I'm going to help somebody, I might as well get a paycheck. And Bob said, not just military, law enforcement hire and everyone, and we're supposed to trust these badges when everyone ain't right. You're right. There are no reports of a dishonorable discharge. There are several types of discharge. So, but it did, when I did the research, Trey, it did say the Army for serious misconduct. That definitely was the issue. He should have been in prison prior to the police force. And yes, he was. He was kicked out after 3 years and didn't finish his contract. So maybe it wasn't dishonorable, Trey, but it was for serious misconduct. Either way, he got kicked out. And you and I both know to get kicked out of the military had to be something grave, had to be something serious. It doesn't mean dishonorable, which wouldn't make him a reject. Okay, Trey, I get it. I know that words matter to you. I know that. I've known you long enough that words matter. But in the research that I did, it said he had been discharged from the Army for serious misconduct. Nope, people get kicked out for smoking weed. Yeah, you're right, because I had a couple homeboys. Look, Trey, like I said, I need you're the voice of reason. You're the one that's going to bring the knowledge that I don't have. You're the one that's going to qualify the show. But you want to be petty and not come up here, but that's okay. I love you anyway. I know you, so it's all good. And Bossman said that's other than honorable. than if we're being technical. I get it, boss man, but you know, when my boy Trey, words matter to him. Words matter to him. But this is crazy that a melanated person is twice likely to be fatally shot than a non-melanated person. You know, when my son started driving, I said, I don't want no more than 2 people in the car. One in the front and one in the back, and that's it. Because y'all will get distracted with the radio, with the phones, with the girls. He's like, oh, yeah, I got you, Mom. We're going to keep the white dude in the front seat. Yo, I started laughing when he said that. But the fact is, the fact is that he said it worked a lot of times. You know, I let my kid drive at 15. I had the city that I lived in on lockdown because, like I said, I dated a police officer and I was cool with all his boys and they wouldn't mess with me at all. So I would let him drive on a permit just to school, work, and to the park. And I said, if you get caught up in your shit, then they're going to take your license away. So that's why I had strict rules for him from when he drove. He was driving my car. He was driving a nice car. He's young. He gonna have his boys in the car. He was like, Mom, I got you. We got a decoy. We're gonna put Orion in the front. I mean, the fact that thought and that plan had to be executed so he can feel comfortable driving and not feel some type of way, that's crazy to me. And shout out to my boy Orion. I love you, and good luck in the military. 2 of my son's boys they're off to basic training. I was hoping that my son would get the itch by seeing his 2 best friends going, but he wasn't having it. So the fact remains is that that we have to raise, you know, white people don't understand that we have to raise our children like we're living in a whole different world. This is why I don't get in my feelings anymore, but this is why when people talk about that I'm non-black and I have no business talking about this, bro, I'm living the same experiences. Maybe I didn't go through the struggle, but none of y'all went through slavery either. you know what I'm saying? You're bringing up shit that happened 400 years ago. You automatically go off of my skin color and my hair. You know, it's anybody that's melanated goes through something. The biracial struggle that I go through, where I get it from both ends, is off the chain. I had to teach my dad that lesson. Because he raised me, baby, you got the best of both worlds. You got this, you got that, you got this. I said, really? Really? Let's do an experiment. He thought, because my dad had money and his last name, that I carried clout, just like him and the rest of the family. But I had three siblings, 2 half-sisters from my dad's first marriage, and they were Italian, because his first wife was Italian. And then he had my brother and me from my mom. And I was the only melanated child. Everybody looked Italian. My brother looks just like the kid from the Bronx Tale. Every time I miss my brother, God bless his soul, and I'm missing him, I watch that movie because he looks it's unbelievable. He looks just like him. People didn't think that we were brother and sister, but we actually came from the same parents. I was just melanated like my mama, and my brother came out white like my father. So it's a struggle. So when y'all come to me with this BS about you don't have any business talking about this topic, mind your goddamn business. How about you come up here on camera and talk about things? You keep suing taxpayers. I don't know what you mean by I don't know what you mean by that. And then Trey said women get discharged before the end of their contract if they're pregnant. Still problematic. You mean in the military? Or yeah, in the military, if you said discharge. My grandma was a New Yorker too, and she was from Long Island though. I'm from Long Island, girl. You know, Strong Island. I have family. I'm from the Queens and the Bronx. I'd hang out there all weekend, but I bring my happy ass right back to the burbs on Sunday night. Here we go, Travel One. You requested this show, and you are an animate subscriber for me. You're always commenting me. You there. So I do listen to my subscribers. I'm working for y'all. I'm working for the people. That officer of this incident had a tangled past and present. Okay. FU12. Well, I don't know what that means. Are they though? Okay. Y'all having your own conversation. So mentally ill women is speaking to demons now. Y'all sound crazy. She was diagnosed with schizo. No, I'm saying, well, is saying I rebuke you in the name of Jesus demonic? And just because she was diagnosed with schizo, that gives him the right? This was such a tragic story. May she rest in peace, and I pray that her and her family get the justice they deserve. Oh, they will. They will. And thanks for coming, Celine. I've never seen you before, so I really appreciate you coming through. Are you through BMU? Oh, yeah, you're at my. And don't forget to press the like, subscribe, and share. I agree with you, Gracie. She saw and spoke to the demon in him, and the demon responded. I'm sorry. And thank you, our pain, insane in the membrane. Yeah, it's like something triggered him. Well, Sonya, life matters nobody cares about that murderer. I hear you, but at the end of the day, we still lost a soul unnecessarily. We still lost a soul unnecessarily. Trevor once said, can Grace talk about the topic, Trey? Don't let him distract you. Trey, Travel One. As much as distraction you do, let him talk his shit. Because he's African American and he's a police officer. He was in the military, so he's feeling it on three ways. You know, he really is, and it's crazy. It's crazy, and this is so disappointing. But let me ask you a question. I want to ask a question. This is why I wish some people would come up on the panel. How would you have felt if it was a black officer that did this to this young lady? I mean, would the cut be deeper? Would it still be the same? I mean, I want to know from the melanated community, since I have no business talking about this issue, but I'm gonna talk about it. Selena said, even if she did use boiling water as a defense, if she thought he was going to hurt her, he would have survived, and there was no need to pull out. Exactly. This is why good officers quit. Y'all stuck with the worst and inexperienced. And I believe you, Trey. I had a couple homeboys and one chick that they were just sick of it. Wrong is wrong. Race doesn't matter to me. I know that's right, Boz. I get it, Trey. I get it. So the good ones quit, or they get moved into a different department, and then we got the scraps. And Travel once says, so black women can't pray in her own house, calling on God. This is unjust right there. So Trey, let me ask you a question. For the fact that she was diagnosed with schizo, does this still make it justified? I mean, I have to play devil's advocate. You know that. Okay, so if it was on paper that she was classified as a schizo, is it still justifiable of what was done that night? Bossman said too, race doesn't matter. Wrong is wrong. Absolutely. Facts. My co-worker is a former sheriff's deputy, and he said he quit because they were too dirty. It's a thin line it's a thin line between that blue line. Good officers never call out the bad apples, which make them complacent. You know why? Because then they will get ousted. You're not supposed to go against the blue line, and they'll get reprimanded. It would be the same black on black crime, just cover it up with a uniform and a badge. You're right, Young Money. And you guys, feel free, You guys can always feel free to send out a super chat to the network, send out a donation to the Cash App. You know, feel free, because we're working hard over here. Travel One said, it would still be very disturbing, Grace, black, white, or woman officer. It was just horrible. And I agree. It's sad how when cops entered her home, she had to say, please don't hurt me. I mean, if you guys want to see that video again, because a lot of times we got to see things a couple times over. Good cops for some reason don't turn in KKK, and that's obviously infiltrated police force. I mean, I get it. Maybe the officer doesn't want to lose his job. The officer doesn't want to lose his pension. I mean, we can't answer for that. They're stuck in a hard rock, you know, they just quit. Instead of crossing the blue line, they just end up quitting, like Trey says. What's going to protect the good cops? Exactly. Who's going to protect the good cops? You're absolutely right, Trey. So instead of putting up with the BS, they just quit. They care to be outed by their blue crew is laughable. We in 2024, nah, honey, that's a tight. I'm telling you, they stick together. Y'all asking good cops to speak out with no protection. That's insane. I'd rather quit. And I was just going to finish, Trey, saying that bond between police officers, that happened at my agency. A lot of good badges moved around or retired out. They get tired of the BS just like we do, especially when they work hard at being right. And sometimes they oust you if you don't participate in their foolery. So it's like, what incentive does a young African-American boy or girl have to want to be a police officer? What incentive do we have to respect the badge? That's why I say we hate to love them and love to hate them. Travel once said, okay, I read that one. It's like a catch-22. We criticize DEI, but what makes these cops qualified? The guy discharged from the Army was fired multiple times and multiple DUIs. I get it, Mr. Bennett, and thank you for coming and showing support. I appreciate you. The people, the community speak up. You think the whole city gonna ride with y'all to take them down. But think about it. We take down the whole police, then who we gonna have? Change starts at the top. And thank you, Edward. And that is why we, as a melanated community, thank you, Mama. Uh-oh, we got her moderating for me too. Thank you, baby girl. I appreciate it. Gracias, mi amor. We got to vote in our local elections. You're right, Edward. It starts from the top and it has to crumble. But you got senators in there that have been there longer than some draws I own. I don't think senators should have unlimited terms. After 3 terms, you should be out of there. But they're still there. Not a damn thing. We call the police because we have to. It's a procedure. It has nothing to do with trust. I hear you, Baz. I'm gonna share something with y'all. I'm gonna share. I'm telling you, I've been through it. I just got my car the night before. You know, I'm in love with Chrysler 300. So anybody that knows me. So my baby was fresh. I'm on my way to work. And before I go to work, I stop by Dunkin' Donuts, get my coffee, and go to work. My kid was at camp. Okay? I was the type of parent that I don't keep my kids sitting around on spring break or winter break. No, you're going to basketball camp. You're going to somebody's camp. You're not going to sit at home while I'm at work and not do nothing. Okay? So he was already at basketball camp because his best friend came and picked him up. My stepson, well, he's still my son. I've known him since he was 4, and now he's 24 years old. So, you know, I made it not to birth him, but I love him like he's mine. He was at the house, and the hubby was at work, and he calls me, and I can hear, as a mother, you know, you know something is wrong. So I'm like, Urel, what's wrong? He was like, there's somebody in the house. I'm like, what? He was like, there's somebody in the house. I said, I wasn't far from the house. I said, I'll be right there. Man, that coffee went in the air. I jumped in that Chrysler. Remember, I already wanted to be a cop, so I'm here. You know, I jumped that curb. I'm like, damn, my brand new car. But I called 911 while I was there. I'm already carrying. I got me. And I called the police. I told them what was going on. There's a possible intruder. I told my stepson to quietly leave the house and meet me because we lived in a dead end in a cul-de-sac. Leave, just leave the house. I got you. You know, and I can, my adrenaline is running right now because I'm putting myself in that situation. And let me tell you something. And I called 911. I said, there's a possible intruder in the house. My son is in the house. I told him to leave the house. I'm armed. You better don't meet me there. Beat me there. So when I told him I'm armed, and I knew what they were going to do. They were going to secure a perimeter. I mean, and instead of me going around, I cut right through the curb, through the driveway, and I jumped out of that like I was Dukes of Hazzard. And it's funny, Mr. Bennett, that y'all talked about weapons yesterday. Great show, by the way. I'm a responsible. I mean, I was locked and loaded when I didn't have no fear. My job was to protect. Yeah, and I know. Well, why didn't he call his father? That's an answer we could never get, but he called me. So I heard the steps in the bedroom. So there was somebody in the house. But because you're trained to be rational, and in irrational situations, I gave out a verbal warning. Hey, Mr. Payne, how you doing, sir? Thank you for coming up. I'm gonna land this plane real quick because it's almost coming to an end.
Take your time.
I gave him a warning. I'm armed because I heard the steps in the master bedroom. I'm dying. My heart is beating. My adrenaline is going. I'm supposed to be at work, you know, and I heard the steps, and the person didn't answer me. So I fired a warning shot. And then I opened the door, and come to find out it was my husband. Now imagine if I would have irrationally just entered that house and just started shooting up the place. I would, you know, I'm not going to tell y'all the reason why he was home, because if I don't want to put him out there, but the fact remains that nobody knew he was home. The car wasn't there. We didn't know he wasn't supposed to be there because he was supposed to be at work. You know what I'm saying? But the fact remains, I still called the police because I knew that if I was going to discharge my weapon, they were going to take the weapon away. They were going to test me for gunpowder. They were going to do all that crap, which they did regardless. They ran a background check on me. But the fact still remains is that I would have took him down if it was somebody that I know. I just thank God that I had the common sense to do a warning shot. So we all go through it. Facts is that you're conditioned to call the police, especially single women. True, true, true. Single men and married men hardly call the police. Nobody dials 911 more than single women. There is no law that says you have to call the police. Tell that to the people who's been put in prison for protecting themselves and family at Trey. I get you, of course, but these people, badges and judges, are on some bullshit, especially judges. True. That's why voting is so important. So let me get our Payne. Thank you for coming, our Payne. I was listening to your show in the clouds. So great show tonight. What say you on this?
Well, you know, listen, I'm not the expert on this thing. I mean, I'm just like every other citizen. The only problem I have is with the DAs charging this guy with first-degree murder. I got to know if they have lesser charges, because I think in the past, in my day, the DAs would charge first-degree murder as a ploy to get the cops off, because that's the highest burden of proof. They have to prove that he intended, wherever he started, that he wanted to murder that woman. I don't think that's that easy to prove. So if there were some lesser charges, at least he'll do whatever length of time. But all you need is one redneck on that jury, one Trojan horse, and he's going to walk if that's the only charge.
The seed of doubt.
Yeah, if that's the only charge, that's my thing. Now, that's why I'm glad Trey came up. But that's how I've observed over my lifetime of these murders of Black people. The DAs would overcharge. So the burden of proof was so high for the jury, which was supposed to be the jury of the peers of the defendant. And these guys will walk. That's why we used to have so much problems in New York. So I'm just hoping that this will be a little bit different. But when I saw the charge of first-degree murder and like 3 counts, but I haven't heard any lesser charges, I don't know if the fix is in or not. I don't. So I think everybody needs to brace themselves. All they need is one juror to say, I don't see the premeditation.
I hear you. So you're saying that they're going to have to prove that it was premeditated?
That's first-degree murder. Is that right, Trey?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think that, a lot of times when they charge, if they like Trump, they threw 34 indictments against some bullshit. He wrote a bad check, essentially. And they got 34 counts, so they could catch him on some humbug, right? So if it's just first-degree murder and no less like second-degree, willful negligence, so all kinds of bullshit. If they don't have those other charges, just first-degree, all they need is one juror to say, I don't see the premeditation.
Damn. Well, Trey, thank you for coming up, because you are qualified for this conversation.
By the way, I put a stat thing from 2017 to 2024. Of murders, white, Black, Hispanic, by cops.
Okay.
So you got the link back there. BMU could show that if you wanted to.
Okay. So Trey, thank you for coming. I knew you were gonna get with all the comments in the chat. Eventually you're gonna be like, nah, fuck it, I'm talking. You are qualified for this. You're military. You were law enforcement. You were in narcotics. You patrolled the streets. Teach us, educate us, talk to us, tell us what you can tell us.
There's nothing to tell y'all. Y'all know what to do already. I mean, everybody knows that the best way to deal with cops is to not deal with them at all. It's to limit your exposure to the police. Right? When I was on the department, I got pulled over all the time. It's kind of crazy, but I got a little bit of a heavy foot. I got pulled over all the time. Since I've been off the department, I haven't been pulled over once. I've had no interaction with the police since I've been off the department.
So you're saying you got pulled over more when you were a cop?
Oh, yeah. All the time. Yeah. All the time.
Were they messing with you because they knew it was you? Or they were really pulling you over?
Pulled my ass over because I was speeding.
They were doing
they were doing their job. My ass was speeding. I deserved to be pulled over. And I deserved them tickets that I got too. So,
yeah, I got a heavy foot too. Travel One says, why is Trey blaming women for being single and calling the cops single women not pay taxes, and married people do call the cops? So
yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Of course married people call the cops. The point I was making is that nobody calls the cops more than single women. Now I know this is one of the reasons why I don't like to have these discussions, because you guys can't get past the emotion. You're so filled with emotion because that's what CNN and MSNBC want to do to y'all. They get y'all all riled up over bullshit. Right? And they doing it again. And they get ready to do it, and they get ready to do it some more with the girl in New Jersey. Just they're gonna keep doing it. They do this every 4 years. They do this to y'all. And y'all still aren't smart enough to figure it out. The fact of the matter is, nobody calls the police more than single women. Nobody. The majority of the homes that I went to were single women and single mothers, because there was no form of protection in the home. Now, I can go into your houses right now. I bet you, Grace, I can come in your house right now, and I can find a hiding space in your house. And by the time you figure out where I'm at, I probably already took you out and your entire family. Y'all don't protect yourselves. You don't canvass your home. You don't do sweeps of your home. You don't know the hidden spots, the hot spots in your own home. You guys don't protect yourselves, which is why you call the police. You're so quick. That's why I said earlier, you're conditioned to do it this way. Y'all have been conditioned. Shit popping off, call the police. Where I work, you didn't even need to call the police for a minor fender bender. You didn't need the police. The two of y'all could exchange information and get it done on your own. Guess how many minor fender benders I went to, Grace? A bunch. Because you've been conditioned.
Sometimes you need that police report for your insurance.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You need the report numbers. And in some cases, depending on what jurisdiction you're in, they won't give you, like where I work, you ain't getting no report. Exchange information and y'all insurance companies will handle it. But a lot of people don't even know that. You want to know why? Because you're automatically conditioned to dial 911. So
well, I would call the cops, Trey, because the cop he's the tiebreaker. Because, me and our pain get into a car accident. He says it's my fault. I say it's his fault. Wouldn't the police officer be the...
No.
He can determine that.
The insurance company's going to deal with that.
Yeah.
There's never been a police officer who has determined who was at fault. The insurance companies determine who was at fault.
But what about when a person gets a citation at an accident?
They get a citation because they broke the municipal law. It has nothing to do with who was at fault.
Okay. Travel One say you are one-sided, Trey. You have no compassion. That is obvious why you are here.
No, I'm not going to break down in tears and cry every time somebody gets shot. Sorry. It's not that emotional to me. You want to know why? Because in 2 months, y'all don't give a damn. Y'all stop talking about Eric Garner. Y'all stop talking about Alton Sterling. Y'all stop talking about Freddie Gray. Y'all stop talking about Philando Castile. Y'all stop talking about them. Sandra Bland. Y'all don't care. Y'all only do this because it's in the moment. It's in the moment. And now y'all all worked up. Don't worry. I got a good memory. I'm going to revisit this. Oh, yeah. In September, I'm going to ask you, hey, y'all still feel, how y'all feeling? Y'all still care about Sonya? Because I ain't heard y'all say shit about her. This is what y'all do. This is what y'all do.
Yeah, I'm in between though. I'm in between. Like to me, the only thing matters now is whether that cop goes to jail. So the rest of it, I don't get. What's done is done. He committed this crime, and the only thing I'm thinking about is how is the trial going? Is this guy going to jail? But and that's it. So I don't get. It's unfortunate, right? And a lot of these situations are unfortunate, but this one is really unfortunate, but there's nothing else you can do. You can't you can't spend all your emotional currency, because we know that in the past, this guy wouldn't have been charged this fast. Right. So to me, it's progress that he's even charged, right? Lost his job.
So quickly, because usually they'll put him on suspension without pay or a desk job. Until investigation.
If you listen to her father, they were trying to cover it up. It was the cover up was beginning, and it just fell apart because of the body cam. But the other cop who didn't have his body cam on, he should be punished just for not having his body cam. Right. So I think if that's part of their rules, and I think it is. So I'm just saying, we're gonna go get worked up. It's really now we know that this guy's going to go to trial. I think the whole community should calm down until we see what the trial, how the trial goes, how the verdict goes. And there's nothing else you can do other than talk about. But we still got to go back to our lives. This is why, this is where Trey comes in. I mean, the world's still moving. The world's still moving, And so, so now that's why I'm not comforted, but the fact that this guy is going to stand some kind of justice is a good step in the right direction.
Absolutely, Mr. Payne, because I never saw this process move so quickly.
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh,
you know,
here's another thing. I've never seen so many police officers come out against somebody like this since the Abdul Diallo, when they stuck the broomstick up the guy's ass in New York. I don't know if you remember that. There was a guy.
Yep.
That's the first time I heard police officers come out and say, wait a minute, this crime is so heinous, you're on your own. So there's a lot of police officers, rednecks, black ones.
Because they're tired of the BS. They're tired of the rotten apples.
No, I don't know if they're tired, but they know they get tarnished by this kind of stuff.
The union looked at this and said, we're not going to win.
So that again, you got
the union looked at this and said, we're not going to win.
It's too clean, cut, and dry, right?
The union looked at this video and said, there ain't no way in hell we're going to be able to justify this. And let me tell you something. For those of y'all who have never worked for a union will turn their back on you in a heartbeat.
Really?
If you're wrong, they will say, this officer, and that's exactly what happened, because what I read is they will say this officer acted outside of the scope of his duties, which we can't get behind that. He's on his own.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. They don't uphold you in your wrongdoing. We're not gonna do that. So let me ask you something. What happens to the captain of that house? What happens to him? Does this look bad on his part too?
This looks bad on everybody that had anything to do with him being hired. And yes, as far as I'm concerned, they should all be charged too.
Really?
Yes. If he's on his 6th department in 4 years, how was he hired?
Exactly. There's no stability.
So whomever hired him, whoever conducted his background check, whoever conducted his psych op, whoever conducted his polygraph, whoever did his initial interview, who I'm gonna guess, because he had been through so many departments, that he was a lateral retrain, so he didn't have to go through the academy. So whoever skipped him through the academy, every person that had anything to do with him getting a badge and a gun, they need to be charged as well. Because this is where I have the biggest problem. The problem is that he should have never been hired in the first place.
That's right.
Yep. That's the root of the problem.
That to me is the biggest issue here. Yes, he committed a crime, and more than likely he's gonna spend the rest of his life in prison, as he should. But we need to start looking into the hiring practices. I sat in cruisers with guys from South Carolina, from Mississippi, from Tennessee, from West Virginia, and we in the hood. What do they know? Why are you here? Who hired you? You shouldn't be here. But that's above my pay grade. And for a lot of y'all that don't have jobs where there's a chain of command, you don't quite understand above my pay grade. So the fact of the matter is that at what point in time do we start to look at the people who are hiring and saying, you're not hiring qualified people, and start to hold them accountable as well? Hey, if this officer does such and such and such, it's going to reflect poorly on you too. What about his training? Was there a training officer he had to go through? Or was he, because with lateral retrains, they don't have to do like me. When I went to the academy, I had to go through the academy and I had to have a training officer. They don't have to, sometimes they don't have to do all of that. Depends on the department. They literally can go in, they learn the code book, they take a few tests on written exams on the code book, and then you good. They send them out there. So everybody who has something to do with him getting up to that point, but from what I'm hearing, I don't know if this is true, but he was married to the chief's daughter.
Oh.
So I don't know how if that's a rumor or not, but let me explain something to you.
It'll come out.
In law enforcement, nepotism is a real thing.
Oh, that's true.
It's a real thing. Nepotism is a real thing. I worked with 3rd and 4th generation officers, and I would see them get positions or narcotic squads or prostitution or whatever way before me, and they weren't qualified. You want to know why? Because their granddaddy was captain such and such. Nepotism is a real thing. So maybe he got on that department because his father-in-law wanted him there.
Wow.
You're wicked.
Wicked.
You're wicked.
That's right.
You're wicked.
Back in Leviticus.
You're wicked.
Amen.
And so these are the things that have to be addressed. And again, if that is to be the case, again, that's a rumor. I'm not saying it's true. That is a rumor.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But if that is the truth, then the police chief needs to be charged.
Yeah. Well, he was dishonorably discharged from the service. That's got to mean something.
Was he? Because I haven't read anything that said dishonorable discharge. I've only seen
that's why. Well, okay, so maybe that's a rumor too then.
Well, no, these are when I
discharged
for serious misconduct. They didn't say dishonorable, just like Trey said, because I did the research today.
Okay.
He was discharged from the Army for serious misconduct. They didn't say what in the article that I read.
So
they didn't say.
So he got a break.
And had a history of DUIs.
Right.
And what happened was he got arrested, got his DUI, paid $1,300, did everything, pled guilty, and that was it. So what happened to those charges?
Let me tell you something about DUIs, because I've worked with guys that got DUIs on a department, right? This is how a lot of departments deal with DUIs. A lot of departments take it that they have to get you help first before they fire you. That's the way they deal with it, right? So they got to put you in a program, they got to get you therapy and counseling, and then somehow, some way, you get your badge and your gun back, right?
Damn.
Now, so when I hear he has DUIs, I know how they deal with them because I saw it, right? Same thing with weed smokers. We had a guy who was. I'm pretty sure he was high on duty sometimes. They didn't fire him, not immediately. They put him in a program, got him help. This is what happens when your department is 600 officers short. They start making
they're bending the rules or doing runabouts.
Because what happens in every city, there's supposed to be one officer for every so many citizens, whatever your number is, right? There are a lot of cities, your New Yorks and Atlantas and DCs and Baltimores and Chicagos, that are so short that they can't afford to allow guys to go because he got a DUI or he got a weed charge. I mean, you know what I mean? Or he popped hot on his piss test. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you what happens.
I hear you. That's why I love the fact that you're up here talking to us and educating us, because we don't know, Trey. I only know so much, and they picked me, Trey. The agency that picked me up right away, it's called Lauderhill, Florida, but it was nicknamed Lauderkill. And the guy said to me, yeah, we picked you up right away because you're female and you're Hispanic. We get funding for hiring you.
They get federal money.
I wanted a cushy job in Boca Raton. I wanted to go to Delray Beach. Oh no, when they saw, because my name has nothing Hispanic about it, right? But when I went in for interview and they saw me, oh, we want her. And then when they say Lauderhill, I'm like, oh, hell. I mean, it's so bad there that they have armed security at the grocery store. Armed security.
When I got out of the military, I applied to 3 departments. I applied to the Metro Transit Department we have here. I applied to the Maryland State Police, and I applied to the department I eventually was on, right? The department I eventually was on, it had to be a week and a half from the time that I applied to the time that I got my hiring letter. Like, it was quick. It was so fast. I can remember being in the academy and Maryland State Police calling me and saying, hey, we're ready for you. And I'm like, I then already got hired. I'm good.
Damn.
Some of these departments are so short that I would not be surprised if they are half-assed in the background checks.
Well, you know about Oakland, don't you guys? They said that Oakland has a standing shift for only 30 officers for the whole city.
I've worked nights when we had 6. We had 6 officers sitting in roll call. 6
for the whole shift.
For the whole shift, for a whole 12-hour shift.
6.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Well, the state took over their police office, office pretty much. I don't know if it's for how long they're going to do it, but Gavin Newsom came in and pretty much took over their law enforcement for Oakland.
Okay, guys, look at this bullshit that BMU just posted. State pushes bills to allow illegal aliens to become police officers.
Are you surprised? I mean, they
No, nothing shocks me anymore. Am I a little bit surprised? Yes, but nothing shocks me anymore because they're so look, the military is down 500,000 soldiers right now because they can't get no. That's why they just passed that bill to do the draft because they can't get people to sign up. And now just like Trey said, police officers. Nobody wants to be cops anymore.
Well, of course not.
For a lot of different reasons. How do you tell a little black boy and a little black girl, oh, do you want to become a police officer? No, I want to become a basketball player. I want to become a rapper. That's what we push. But why would we want our young black kids to become police officers?
Well, it's counterintuitive, for me. I think we need more people to go into the law enforcement.
I think so too.
The fact is, it's tainted, and I don't know if it's coming. I mean, everything goes in shifts. I think there's a pendulum swings, right? Black people have a biggest aversion against police, I believe, in the inner cities. But we never hear about the white people in Appalachia or the white people in poor neighborhoods. They have the same affinity, distrust of the police as everybody else. But we don't talk about them because the media doesn't show it. But for what I'm saying is, in the black communities out in the cities, that's where we need to police the most. So the places where we need to police the most, hey, listen, the vast majority of people don't commit crimes. But if you lived in like where I was, like in Monroe Projects or Castle Hill or Soundview, and they weren't the worst of the worst, but a different project tenements. I mean, you don't need to have most people committing crimes. You just need a few people with a few kingpins around it who sell drugs, who don't give a shit about life. They could put whole communities under their under their thumb. Right, and people live lives of quiet desperation. Take an inventory of whether their kids come home at night and shit like that. And if this whole thing about no snitching, everybody knows who the criminals are, but nobody's telling. Right, so I'm just saying, so some of those areas, you kind of say, hey, these places are the way they are because the puppet masters want them that way. But people who can't move out, they got to live with a lot of shit. You just got to live with a lot of shit. I mean, I've seen it not for a whole lot of my life, but I've seen it enough. In my childhood where I lived in Harlem on 13th Street between Manhattan and 8th, I've seen a whole lot of shit when I was young.
Another thing that I read today, Mr. Payne and Trey, when I was doing my research, is that a lot of the police officers don't even, and Trey, I know you can attest to this. Like you said, you were sitting next to people from all different areas. They don't live in the neighborhood that they patrol, so they don't know the heartbeat of the neighborhood. Yes, they used to have to, but now not anymore. Like if Trey lived in Oakland, he would work in Oakland, but not anymore. You got cops that live in the suburbs, travel an hour and a half to get to work, and have no idea about the culture, the environment. And that's where they should take the training, Trey, instead of defunding the police, which I think is asinine because we need police. Why don't we allocate the funds to better hiring process? Better taking them. What can we do? What do you think we should do? I don't agree in defunding the police.
Let me ask you this question. If I work in the hood and I live in the hood, my children, what school are they gonna go to?
They're gonna go to the better school.
That's why we know they're gonna have to go and be subject to the school in the neighborhood.
That's right. If they go to public school, they gotta be in
the public school. They gotta go to the school in their zone. That's why we live out in the suburbs, because the schools are better. So if I work in the hood and I have children, where do I want my kids to go? And it's different if you're paying for private. If you're paying for private, fine.
See,
But
that would be
a
an
lot of us
incentive,
weren't
though.
paying for private. Our kids were going to public schools. So I want my kid to go to the best public school I can possibly put him in. That typically was not the area I worked in.
That's true.
And I also think it's a conflict of interest. So imagine Trey lives in Oakland, you work in Oakland, and you have to see the same people that you're arresting and doing this in the same neighborhood. That doesn't matter?
That's good police work.
Okay, you get more respect.
You want to be that ingratiated in the neighborhood. You want when you show up on scenes for people to say, "Oh man, I know, man, Trey about to get me." Yeah, because we've had conversations before, and you know where I stand, right? And I probably cut you a break before, right?
And now you're seeing them again.
And now I'm seeing you again. You want that. What you don't want is you don't want officers who have never been in that neighborhood, don't know the people in that neighborhood, don't know the pulse of that neighborhood, don't know the tempo of that neighborhood. Like where I worked at, it was not uncommon to see people hanging out at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's not uncommon. But if you get some guy that's from rural South, wherever, and everybody sleep at 1 in the morning, he's thinking this is crazy.
Yeah.
What all these people seeing a child out at 1 a.m. That's not unheard of where I worked at. Right? And you would hear them say, "Dang, they got babies out." Well, that's how these neighborhoods work.
Yeah.
But guys like me who are used to seeing that could drive through the neighborhood and they would be like, "Hey, don't worry, we about to go in. Trey, don't worry, we about to go in." Because they already knew. They was like, "I'll be out there. Hey, I don't care what y'all do, but let's get them babies in the house though." That was always my thing. Let's get them babies. Y'all want to chill out? Y'all grown. You can do whatever the hell y'all want. Let's get these babies in the house. Ain't no rhyme or reason why we got 7 or 8 year olds out at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
I know that's right.
Well, you know,
so the idea of officers being in that's a good thing. You want them in the neighborhood.
It's a good thing. You know, I mean, there's another thing also. You know, it just was just to extrapolate. Like for example, Black folks, Hispanic folks tend to be loud. So with us, it's just maybe a laughter and all that shit. We just having a good time. You get one of those guys come in and they just tripping. Oh, why is it so loud? Something got to be going wrong, and it's nothing. So they'll turn the situation.
Oh, let us play a spades game in the backyard, and somebody didn't renege.
Yeah, people are yelling, screaming and shit. So, and it's just to us, it's just normal. So, but yeah, if you had a normal neighborhood, a nice side neighborhood, but maybe 10% of the people were for law enforcement, that neighborhood they would damn sure appreciate that. So, look, good legislation would be that if you're a cop, here's my incentive to you. You want to send your kids to private school, we'll give you a stipend as an extra penny for working and living in the city. I don't see, they do those kind of deals for all kinds of bullshit. Why can't you do that for the police? And stuff like that. Things that give them incentive to say, hey, listen, we need y'all to live in the inner city, but we're going to give you a penny so your kids could go to the best private schools around the area. Might not reflect in your paycheck, but that shit is valuable.
Absolutely.
Where I work, there were some incentives. Like they would, you could get a house and you can get a cheaper down payment on your loan. Like they had programs where, like, if a house came on the market, I forgot the name of the program, but if like a house came on the market, it would be for first responders, would get the first crack at it before everybody else. Like they have these programs. You get a take home vehicle. If where I work, take home vehicle was only for people who lived actually in the city. If you didn't live in the city, you didn't get one unless you were on the ERT team. So like they have some incentives, but at the end of the day, like I said, those incentives aren't good enough for me. Those weren't good enough.
Those are not the ones that really count.
Because you could get your house with no problem. You could, what would have, just for curiosity, Trey, so I get to know you a little bit better, what would have been a good incentive for you?
I like the school idea that Art Payne had.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
I like being able to. I mean, that was really my biggest. So the county I live in now has the best public schools in the area. So that's why I moved here. You know what I mean? Because what was supposed to happen pre C-19 was my son was supposed to come live with me, and I moved out here so he could go to the best public school. But then C-19 happened and just kind of threw everything all off, right? And he found another school that he liked better because they had a robotics program and yada, yada, yada. Right. So for me, you have to ask the officer, what would it take? And if it's school, then yeah, you got to come up with something so that their kids, a lot of these officers got a bunch of kids, right? And they want their kids to have the best education they can afford. Maybe you have some tuition-free programs to send the kid of a cop to a top-tier private school. I don't know. But if you're talking about getting cops to live in neighborhoods, you're going to have to bring it.
You got to see that part, man. Yeah.
What did they offer you an extra $25,000 on your salary?
It wasn't about the money, and they're gonna tax it anyway, so it ain't gonna be $25,000. So I mean, it wasn't about the money. It was more about the quality of life, right? Are you gonna give me a cruiser to drive? Do I get my own vehicle? Can I get my pick of shift? You know what I mean? Can I get my pick of days off? Like this is how I'm thinking. Like, hey, I need that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or that Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or whatever days off I choose. Like, are you gonna give me priority over that? If you can give me priority on that, then yeah, I'll live in the city. Like I said, I worked in the same city, in the same patrol service area that I grew up in. My mama lived there and my grandmother lived there.
Right.
So they knew you. You were a standing figure in your neighborhood. They knew, oh shit, here come Trey.
Here come the homes I walked into, and you could just see the head go, damn.
Yeah, I can see that.
Damn. And they be like, nah, Trey, it's not like, yeah, it is, because we're here. So you got to explain. You got to explain what's going on. And I've had to lock up friends. I've had to lock up friends that I played basketball with and played football with and went to high school with. I had to lock them up.
I got one for you, Trey, if you may, Grace. Listen, can you tell us about the qualified immunity issue and what you think that plays? Do the cops have that, or is it going away, or what's the deal with that? Because I know that's an important thing.
That question for me, or was it for Grace?
Yeah, for you. Yeah.
As far as I know, it's still available.
It's available. Okay, so
I haven't heard anything about it going away. I know that's something.
No, that's part of
a lot of
the defunded police people. Yeah, that's the defunded police people want that to go away.
They want to get rid of it. My thing is listen, if you want to do it that way, that's fine. That's fine, because most officers would just take out some sort of insurance of some sort, right? Mm-hmm. And I know there are some other jobs where you have to have some sort of insurance in case something goes wrong. I would have preferred that way, to be quite honest. The union was a piece of shit as far as I'm concerned. They didn't help me or nothing. I got suspended, and the union was worthless to me. They didn't help me nothing, quite honestly. And I was paying them dues every month. I mean, I guess technically they were still protecting me, but I just felt like they never earned the money that I paid them. I always felt like I'd be better off being an independent contractor. Especially when it came to tax reasons. You probably would have been more of an independent contractor. Trump kind of screwed us with all of that. He screwed us with the taxes thing. So, but as far as listen, I don't know if you're going to be able to hold on to officers if you get rid of qualified immunity.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, I don't think you are. I mean, it's hard to hold on to them right now.
Yeah, I don't know that they stick around.
Yeah.
Especially I take that back. The ones that are closer to retirement, they ain't going nowhere, right? Yeah. But when you got some guys that are 2, 3, 4, 5 years on a department and still young enough to make a move and go somewhere else and go do something else, I don't know how you keep them there, right? And people will say, well, qualified immunity just gives y'all carte blanche to do whatever y'all want, and yeah, to some degree, you would be right.
Like that guy who just committed murder, yeah.
You would be right. But the question is what's more important, cops on the streets or not?
I hear you. And with that being said, let me go ahead and welcome Joshua. Sir, thank you for coming. I appreciate you. I know you got some shit to say. Go ahead. What say you on everything that we've talked about and presented tonight?
I hate society. At the end of the day, you guys are complaining about stuff that all you're going to end up doing is making it worse. You bring up, okay, an example, you bring up qualified immunity. Trey brings up the idea of like insurance or a bonding system. That's fine, technically. That there's other industries that operate the same way, right? Except for the officer pays for that crap. Comes out of his paycheck. So now what? You want to cut the amount of money that goes into his pocket? I retire up in about 3 years. There's like no way in hell I'm staying in this position. So I'm going back stateside, and I got a job offer as a county. I don't know why. I don't even know how they knew I was coming back. And it was like it was almost 50,000 under. Now you want to like do something like POP, qualified immunity, right? How much bonding would that require out of my paycheck, right? Why would I want to become a cop? I don't have to. Like, why would I want to go into county? That would be ridiculous. I'd rather go into state, which I'm not going to be in your neighborhood as a statey. So, I mean, it's kind of like you don't get the thing that you want. It seems like, and this is across the board with almost every problem that I can see run around, is society's gotten worse, but they keep continuing to demand higher standards. It's a society problem. Fix your society. Other things will fall in place eventually. It's a slow process. But any move that you make is going to make things worse. It's always the case. Keep asking for more regulations.
I hear you. I mean, I hear you. I just think that they should take the money that they spend. I don't know if they spend money frivolously, but they should take it on more training, mental check-ins for cops. I mean, I know a lot of cops that used to make a lot of money just on overtime detail. They's like, we working. We working. They would work a game, a concert. You always have. And it was so awesome. The cop that I dated at the time became the resource officer at the school that my son was going to. So I knew he was safe. He see him walking home from school. He give him a ride. He let me know if he's causing trouble. I mean, like I said, I'm torn between it, guys. I wanted to be a cop. I respect the uniform because in my family, you're either on this side of the law or we either got FBI, law enforcement, firefighters, or we got, I ain't got to say it. I'm Italian, so I ain't got to say it live. But you understand what I'm saying. And it's like, damn. Miss, she said, stop by. She's stopping by to say peace, smash the like button and share. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. But yeah, guys, I have one more What was that?
Roll back up to Edward's comment. Think about the math on this.
Not our problem if you can't do your job without being in AHAT. So yes, you deserve to, and you has that. So you deserve to lose money.
Think about the math on this. If you roll through your typical town neighborhood, just keep it at city and county officers. Those are the guys that you run into on your daily. The population wise of all of the officers, the vast majority are decent cops, do their job kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So now it's a math problem, right? It's everybody's pointing the fingers at this small portion of, let's call them idiot cops or whatever, right? And you want to burn the house down and rebuild it and punish everybody. At the end of the day, this is going to boil down to your property taxes. You have problems with getting into housing now, like kids are having issues getting housing now. Just keep increasing the property taxes. Keep talking about let's put the officers into mandatory psych training. First of all, there's no incentive for an officer to go into psych training. If he goes into it and says the wrong thing, he gets flagged. He's going to either lose his job or get a desk job. Like, he's going to get screwed. He's not going to be incentivized to tell the truth about his feelings. It's a shitty job. And you want people to be regulated more on an already bad job.
Damn. I mean, I hear you, but we got to do better, Joshua, because again, let me repeat that to you. It's easy, and I hate to pull this, but it's easier for you to say, but Black people are twice as likely as white people to be shot and killed by police officers. So if my son goes out in the streets and you go out in the streets, he is twice likely to be shot fatally by a police officer than you are, Josh. And as a mother, that doesn't resonate well with me.
If he has contact with the police.
Yeah. If you, and this is what I don't understand about criminals sometimes. How are you gave the car to you rent the car, you're going 85 miles an hour, knowing you got 3 pounds of weed in the car. Why would you bring attention to yourself? The cops are chilling underneath the tree, drinking their coffee and eating their donuts. They don't want no action sometimes, but you give them action. Like Trey says, you bring attention to yourself by doing stupid shit. If you know you got 3 pounds of weed in the car, you follow the law, you go the speed limit, and you act right. But this is how, I mean, they say criminals are not the sharpest knives in the drawer anyway. That's why they're so easily caught. And the cops are always upgrading. It's forever going to be a cat and mouse game. Okay? The criminals may come up with something, but the cops have got something else. And it's like, you know, rival gangs. You know what I'm saying? And one thing that I learned at the academy that they kept telling me is, at the end of the day, every police officer wants to go home with their family. So if you just cooperate and do the right thing, because you know there's a lot of us that be yelling and screaming and doing this when you're getting pulled over. I mean, traffic stops are the most dangerous job for a field officer. Traffic stops. Why do you think they tap the trunk of their car when they come to their window? You know, there's so many things that they have to go through. And I'm not saying what happened is right. I'm 50-50 on this, because I mean, I can't lie, guys. I wanted to wear the uniform. I wanted to be a cop. I wanted to help people and make a difference. But at the same time, if I was a cop, I'd be looked upon as an asshole when I walked in somewhere, because now they're affiliating this police officer's behavior to my uniform. So with that being said, I found a really good video that I can at least give a police officer side. We got the live side from Trey, but now we got a police officer that I found the video that I think, and it's a black African-American police officer. Run that tape on BMU. So you got, it's a little bit lengthy. I don't know if he clipped it up or anything, but it's a good video. Okay, so we'll end with the long video. Go ahead and play that one, BMU. Got a couple more videos. Y'all could donate to the channel anytime you want to, by the way. Play the video. Guys, I feel funny asking for money. It's just not me, but I learned that it's part of the YouTube culture. So y'all gonna have to, like, I don't know. I got to get used to it. I got to be more. Shout out to my boy Izzy. I love him, but he don't give a damn. Shout out to Izzy. Dope conversations deserve dope donations.
Some of you y'all have tagged me, and some of you have messaged me for my take on the incident that happened in Springfield, Illinois. And my take is this. Miss Sonya Massey had some things going on that night, it appeared. Miss Massey needed help, but instead Miss Massey was murdered. That's my short take on it. Cut and dry. She was murdered by a thug that had a badge and gun and an evil spirit. The longer version is, I watched this video. I had to rewatch it to make sure I saw what I thought I saw the first time, and it really bothered me, as I know it bothered you if you've seen it. I fast forwarded to the part right before he shot, put my ear to the phone, closed my eyes. For some reason, I think I can hear better when I do that, to make sure I heard the back and forth like I thought I did. Let's rewind. First off, the guy that shot her was already a little ticked over asking her for her license, and she couldn't find it. First off, she didn't have to give him her license. She was in her home. In her home. There was no reason for her to give him her license. Fast forward, pot of water. His partner is the one that told her to go around there and get it. He's standing pretty close. Situational awareness. He backs up and moves off to the side, kind of chuckling about it. He didn't fear her, but he wasn't taking any chances at all. Completely understandable. She asks, "Where are you going?" He says, "Away from your hot, steaming water." Then she says, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." But she's not talking to that guy. She's looking at the guy that ends up shooting her. He says, "Huh?" She says, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." This sets him off. I rewatched it. I listened. I rewatched it over and over. She is not trying to close the gap on him. She is not drawing back to throw the hot water on him. He goes off at being rebuked. I believe this wholeheartedly. Y'all can make fun of me if you want to. I believe this. What does he say? "You better effing not, or I swear to God, I will shoot you in the effing face." At which point, she's scared to death. Pot goes on the counter. Nothing in her hand. She cowers down, understandably. He saw her put the pot down. He keeps saying, "Drop the pot, drop the pot, drop the pot." She starts peeking back up. What does he do? Still nothing in her hands. Pot still on the counter. He follows through what he told her he was going to do. He shot her in the effing face. Murdered her. During the aftermath, does not administer aid, discourages his partner from administering aid. Says on the radio, yeah, she's still breathing, but she's losing a lot of blood. No remorse. Nothing. This guy should have never been in law enforcement, and he deserves to be in prison for the rest of his life. Law enforcement failed Miss Massey that night. She needed help, but she got murdered instead.
Okay, guys, let's talk about that video. I'm gonna end with you, Trey, because you're gonna give us the police side of things. Our Pain, what do you think about that video that you heard?
I saw that. I saw that, and there's a few others. I think I saw one with a lady, police officer. I mean, I hear him. I hear what he's saying. Listen, back in the day, you would never get a cop, no matter what the egregious situation was, talking like that about a police-involved shooting. I've never seen it before. I think even now, today, this is kind of new to me to hear multiple police officers coming out in uniform on social media saying these things. That's new to me. So I mean, this guy should go down, and we all know it. But I give, and here's the thing. There's a couple of things I'm gonna end it here. The good thing about this is we don't got no Black Lives Matter bullshit going on. We don't have people going crazy other than what they're saying on the internet. I think the fact that they arrested this guy real quick, and he's going to have his day in court. She's going to have a chance to get justice. That's what I think. In all the years I've been around, that's all Black people actually was asking for. Don't give us no bullshit. Arrest this guy and let him prove his innocence. If he's innocent, or let him prove his guilt. But don't be giving us all this other bullshit. The new investigation got to come in and all this other horse shit. We don't want to hear that. I haven't seen any protests out in the street or any kind of stuff. People are just pissed, but we want to see what happens in the courtroom. And that's the way it should be. I kind of want to give the Black community a high five for not being fucking assholes over this shit. Be mad, be upset, but let's see the wheels of justice turn. Let's see how them turn.
Josh, what do you have to say about that video?
Oh, y'all gonna hate me. Oh, you know it's gonna be bad. Let me see if I can dummy it down and try to be somewhat polite about it. I got no empathy, period. At the end of the day, so the officer shows up for what did she originally call for? Somebody
Possible intruder.
Yeah, somebody in the house on the property kind of thing. Yeah, okay. So officer shows up. He's probably pissy. Of course, if I had to work city or county, I'd be pissy. I'm pissy now as a Fed, right? Like this bothers the crap out of me. I'd hate to deal with that because I already dislike society. Think about it. He shows up, comes in the door, looks around the house, apparently, doesn't find anything, doesn't find any evidence of anybody running around. So he's going to turn his attention to the caller who's coming across as a little fruity or crazy kind of thing. And you expect him to be what? Do you expect him to be a cop or a psychologist? Pick one. My problem isn't any longer with government officers or government agencies. It's now with society. I actually consider society to be the enemy. I'm on the flip side here. And now I'm on this side where I just don't like society anymore. People do stupid shit and then society backs them in masses doing more stupid shit. And this is what we come down to. All you guys are going to do is make things worse. They arrested the officer. Sure. If you make a threat and then carry that threat out, that's going to generally be construed as first-degree murder. I can't say, like, even me at work, well, technically it wouldn't apply to me, but if I were to say I'm going to kill somebody and then 5 minutes later shoot somebody, obviously that's going to come down the pike. He gets arrested. What happens if he gets released from these charges? Who does that officer then get to sue? So he's gonna no matter what happens to this, your department's going to fail. You're not going to get better cops out of this system. You're going to get worse. Grab your pitchfork, get angry, get pissy. It'll just get worse for your neighborhood.
That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I don't understand why we can't come up with a solution. Why we can't just do better.
The problem society is. It's society's getting worse and demanding a higher expectation from government. The problem isn't the government. You guys are the government. If the government's a problem, it's because of shitty people. Period.
So what about you, Trey? Here we go. Land this one.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck Josh is talking about. That shit sounds crazy to me. The fact of the matter is that the question was his behavior justified? And a lot of police officers that I know, that I've spoken to, and I rarely even have a conversation with my daughter's mom, but she's still in law enforcement. She's a sergeant now. We were talking about it, and we were both coming up empty with air to try to justify this. I don't quite see how they do it. I will give him his, I will always give people their due process because that's the system in which we're built on. But I don't know how the fuck he gonna defend that. Now,
there was no imminent danger.
Well, I don't agree with that. I don't agree that there was no imminent danger. The pot is hot. The pot is hot. The question is was the pot a weapon? That's the question we have to ask. Was the pot a weapon? Now, he's going to be judged based on not what y'all think, but it's going to be based on what a reasonable officer would think. I would consider myself to be a reasonable officer. I wouldn't consider the pot to be a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing. I've dealt with a lot of mentally ill. You talking about your bipolars and your schizos and your paranoid schizos. And you get these calls every night. And you go to these same homes every night. And the rumor is that they were at that house the night before. Right? And you go to the same house over and over and over and over and over and over. right? Can it build some resentment? Yeah. Especially if you're working on something. If you're in the middle of, a warrant case or something that, you feel like it's actually going to help the community, but you got to stop and go to this house because she said somebody's walking around. It can be a little irritating. However, that's not really an excuse. It doesn't really matter. Don't matter. The call for service is a part of your job. You have to take it and deal with it. But the question is if you've been there, because how I always did it, Grace, was if I've been to this house 5 times in the last month, there's no need for me to go in your house. I already know what time it is here. Right? He asked her, you taking your medication? She said, yeah, I'm taking. Okay, cool. All right, well, look, we walked around, we looked, we didn't see anything. We'll be in the area all night and just keep it moving.
You're right. He didn't have to come in the house.
You never have to go in the house as an officer. Never. The only time I ever really went in the house is because it was too damn cold outside. I'm dead serious. If I didn't have to go in your house, I didn't go in your house. And you know why? It's for my safety. You know where all the guns and the weapons are in there. I don't. So why the hell would I go in there? There's no need for me to go in there. I cannot find, and I watched the video several times because I was on This Might Be Risky earlier. And I've been watching the video. I've watched it several times, and I can't find anything justifiable about it.
I mean, you could have tased her.
No, well,
why?
Not if it's water involved, then she'll just get electrocuted. So I don't know about that. But you got pepper spray, and here's the thing: police officers aren't taught to run away.
No.
You're just not taught to run away, right? You're not taught to retreat. We're always taught to go forward. I think the training has to change. That in situations that aren't involving active shooters or somebody's life is an imminent threat or imminent danger, retreat has to be an option. And that you need to get to a point. Me personally, Monday morning quarterbacking the hell out of this right now, I would have liked to see them exit the home. And if she want to tear up her shit, let her tear her shit up. It's hers. There's no crime in tearing up your own shit, right? But I would have liked to see them retreat from the home, maybe take up a defensive position outside and call her outside to where she's at a less of an advantage. If that's the route you need to go, right? I don't see why you would need to, but if you need to get to that point, or you need to put her okay, call her outside and do it outside. But the training isn't, let's get out of here. That's just not the training. The training is forward, forward, forward. So maybe the training needs to change. Now, me personally, I never had a problem. When I see when I had mental health consumers start to have an episode, I would go wait in the cruiser. I would just, okay. And I'm talking about, I've had situations where people start stabbing themselves, all types of stuff, right? And you got to stop them from stabbing themselves, obviously, right? But I've seen it go from 0 to 100 really quickly. But I've also realized that if I took myself out of the picture, sometimes that was enough to calm the situation. And that may be just the mere presence. Sometimes the mere presence of police is the agitator. Sometimes that can just be the guys that's just in uniform. That's the agitator. So sometimes if we just take ourselves away, things have a tendency to calm down. I would have liked to see them retreat back to outside, maybe come up with a plan, maybe call her outside. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. And I think that has a lot to do with, again, you talked about it earlier, Grace. There's a lack of training there. And also the hiring practice of who you're hiring and what their mentality is when they take on these calls for service. And let me be very clear. I have never ever been trained to tell someone I'm gonna shoot you in the head. I don't know nothing about. I ain't never heard that before. Now you can tell them I'm going to shoot you. You can say that. If they pull out a gun, you can tell them, listen, if you don't put the gun down, I will shoot you. You can say that. But officers, the protocol and training is to shoot center mass.
Yep.
So I don't know where we getting headshots from. It's the only time I was trained to do headshots was if you can confirm that they were wearing body armor. So it was 2 to the body, 1 to the head, because you confirming that they got body armor on. And that was actually a part of our firearms training. But that was the only time. Never, ever have we ever been, at least not where I was at, ever been told that it was okay, professional, to tell someone I'm gonna shoot you in the face. That's insane. And then go do it.
And they don't even have I mean, yes, a pot of hot boiling water is a weapon, but not a weapon to take your life. It would have done some damage, but you could easily like back up, like the other officer said. But that was just crazy to me.
Absolutely not. Look up the term thermal weapons. Boiling water has been used since the dark ages in warfare. And now we're all talking about all of a sudden, it's just water. What the hell? Like, you guys are just basically dumbing everything down as to anything is a weapon. If it's in your hand.
Josh, so you really feel that it justifies to take her life in that manner?
That's the thing. You guys seem to be under the impression that cops are there to preserve life. There is nothing in any law that dictates that a cop has to protect life. They have to legally protect property. You got a problem with the law? So
property is more important than life?
Yes. According to legal definition, the answer is yes.
Joshua, you have to speak for yourself, because that's not the oath that I took, and that's not how we were trained.
You're talking about policy versus law.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's not what we were told. As a matter of fact, the shooting I got into, the first thing I did after I kicked the gun out of his hand was render aid, because that's what we were taught to do. So I'm not. He didn't do that in this case. I've been in shootings. He didn't even try to help her. He told the guy, "She gone." Basically,
she's done.
That's a headshot. She done. And he didn't even try to render. Josh, I don't know where you were. I don't know what you do for a living, but we clearly do two different things.
Yeah, we just focus on the law. All of the policy stuff is just that, policy. Nobody particularly cares about policy, and it doesn't transfer from one department over to another. If an officer, like in a county, dealing with people on the street level is definitely going to be a lot different than anything we have to deal with. The difference that comes down to this is you guys have an expectation on law or on policy being law. You're conflating the two, and they don't exactly exist. And now you're going to put it through a court system that's going to end up costing you because you want policy to be law.
Yeah, you're making some assumptions there, Josh. This is exactly what I was saying about that first-degree murder. They got one Josh on the jury like that, but my man's walking.
Yeah, I don't know how they got first. I'm a little bit shocked.
Of course. Think about it. The entire situation. The lady was apparently on medication. She had mental problems, right? Neighbors didn't care about her. She care about her now all of a sudden that she's got a hole in her head.
She deserved to die. Is that what you're saying, Josh?
At the end of the day, nobody really honestly cared about her until she died.
Hold on for a second. I would agree with you that if she was making a move to throw the water, the frill chick she would have to lift that up and hurl it. Wait, hold on. No, that's not what the guy. That's not what the way down. No, that's not what the guy said. Who was just
the autopsy shows that she was the trajectory of the bullet is that she was kneeling. So the pot was on the counter. She didn't even have the pot in her hand.
But the cop that just came on said she didn't even have the pot in her hand. So I'm hearing what you're saying, but you're making up your own scenario.
I'm going off the video.
Well, listen, so you saw the video better than the cop who was just on. He probably had a better. I mean, I don't know what feed you saw, but this guy said he saw it many times. So we have to believe you or we can believe him. She didn't have to pot in her hand and throw it at him. At least that's what the cop said.
Yeah, what somebody said. That's exactly
you're saying the opposite. So we should believe you over him or what?
Of course. That's what the court system is for.
That's right. See, but
okay, so I have one quick question for Trey, and then we're gonna the velvet voice of YouTube is on the panel. Trey, do you not exercise common sense in your in your training? Remember, I didn't finish the whole police academy. Are you guys not allowed to have common sense in some situations?
It depends. Yeah, of course you are. Yeah.
Okay.
But here's the thing, right? It's a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation sometimes, right? If I do something that is more practical or pragmatic, but that goes against the general order or my training, that's my ass. And no matter how much I say, this makes more sense, they're going to say, we don't care. This is what's written in the general order. You were supposed to do it this way. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to the use of force model, which is what they use to determine what type of force to use, there's a level of threat perception, right? And you sort of kind of have to, you kind of figure that out on like where you're at on that scale, right? I just found it quite interesting that his threat perception seemed to jump through the roof, because that's what he's going to say. It seemed to jump through the roof, while the other guy that was with him, his threat perception, I don't even think, he took his gun out after the other guy took his gun out.
I saw that.
And he actually flagged him because the guy stepped in front of him. So he actually flagged him with his weapon, right?
Twice.
Right. So I wonder. This is why I say I gotta hear what this, because it's easy to tear. We can tear him to shreds right now, but I'm just curious. I want to hear what he has to say and why he did what he did and what was his perceived threat. Because the videos that I watched, she didn't make a movement to throw the water. I know that I watched Officer Tatum, and Officer Tatum was saying that she threw the water. I didn't see that. I didn't see her make a movement to throw the water. I saw her take the water. She had the little oven mitts. I saw her put it on the counter. I saw her cower, sort of come back up and cower. I never saw the movement in which someone would take a pot at, this motion or that motion, or, any kind of motion that would signify you're trying to throw something at me. And I got to be honest with you. Like I said, this is where I asked the question. Can we start teaching officers to retreat? Can we start teaching officers the best thing here is to leave, to get out of there quickly? Can we do that instead? I think if the training involved some sort of retreat, I think she'd be alive. I think this officer wouldn't be facing life in prison, right? And we'd have to be going about it a different way. But I've said this before. I have yet to see anything that would change my mind as far as whether or not the shooting was justified. I don't see it being justified, and I see some legal mumbo jumbo getting ready to happen, because I don't see that as first degree. Typically, from the way I was taught the law, first degree means you had to plan it.
That's right. Yeah.
You had to plan it. You had to sit down and make an actual plan to carry out this. Spontaneous utterance, sort of I'll do this sort of thing, never classifies as first degree. I agree with Arpain when he says that this is an old school prosecutorial tactic that they use to charge him with something they know that they can't find him guilty on, so that he walks free. I would like to see him charged with everything from first degree down to if they have fourth degree, and then let the jury figure it out from there.
Absolutely.
I hear you. So now again, let me introduce the velvet voice of YouTube and BMU Network. How you doing, Liz?
Hey, Dom, how you doing?
We're good. We're good. So you already know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I showed the newscast of the show. We got a couple videos. We got one more to go. But what say you? Because you're the melanated community, and I was telling people how we have to raise our kids how to deal with police officers different from a white child.
Right. Hey,
so
Grace, let me just say this real quick. You have somebody in the video, in the audio as well. I think I Don't Give a F came up as well.
She'll be back in a minute. She'll be back in a minute.
So what say you, Loss?
Here's my whole thing. You got to look at the numbers. It's 2 versus 1. It's 2 versus 1 with guns. It's 2 versus 1 with guns, and they're bigger men. You know what I'm saying? And then for them to justify or try to justify, it's one of those things where you have to think about it. It's like what were you thinking? You know, and you have options. It's just like Trey spoke to about, protocol. Those guys are taught to go forward and not backwards. Well, they're also supposed to preserve life. I don't know about this not preserving property or whatever, but you can always get property back, but you can't get people back. You know what I'm saying? You can always rebuild a house, but you can't rebuild a person. You see what I'm saying? Not only that, they took that lady's life, it took her liberty, and it took away her pursuit of happiness. Now, here's my thing. If they knew that she had some type of medical issue, then they should have probably said, hey, look, do you mind if we call somebody in to take a look at you? You know what I mean? That type of thing. Instead of saying, I'm going to shoot you. What kind of mess
in
is
the
that?
face.
I invited you into my house and you telling me you finna shoot me. And if you go back and you watch the video when the lady was on the phone with, I don't know who it was, she was like, don't hang up. And to me, that lets me know that she felt like she was not safe in the presence of the police. She's like, please don't hang up with me. Please don't. And that speaks to something about women's intuition, because she knew for a fact this may be her last day on this earth. And that's the main reason why she didn't want to let that person get off the phone. I've seen that so many times, where people just say, hey, just don't hang up with me. And sometimes you got to listen. And then if you listen to the officer, no, you can go ahead and hang up. We got it. What kind of mess is that? And then on top of that, he was making gestures to the other guy. Go around there. I'm like, you act like this lady can't see y'all. You know what I mean? She invited you into her house, and then you walk out and she don't. I mean, you got to have some type of common sense, some type of decorum, man.
Look at that comment, Lit.
What was that?
It says she even asked the cop, "Are you going to hurt me?"
Exactly.
Can I say something?
Come on, man.
I've dealt with a lot of mentally ill people. I ask you that. I'm serious. I'm not even trying to take anything away from her. I'm in a lot of homes, and the first thing they say is, please don't do anything to me, because they probably had a bad experience from previously. So that's not out of the realm of possibility for somebody who is schizophrenic or bipolar or multiple personality disorder, or something along those lines, to say, hey, please don't hurt me. And then what I will say this though, Lit, I also agree with you. This is where I've said before, got to stop sending police to deal with people who have psychological issues.
Thank you.
You have to stop. This has to stop, right? And what needs to be, but the only problem is, Lit, though, because we tried this in the department I was at.
Right.
They won't go in without us.
What do you mean? They won't go in? The police?
No. The psychologists.
Okay.
They won't go in without us.
Okay.
And I've been in situations where if the person's having an episode,
right,
they bail. They get the hell up out of there.
Well, Trey, let me ask you a question. What type of red tape do you think people have to go through to get something like that done, to avoid something like this in the future?
Yeah, I don't think it's much. Honestly, I think, Lit, what you need to do is it needs to be a part of a unit. It needs to be a specialized unit. When the department I have, they had a lesbian, gay unit, they had a trans unit, they had a prostitute, they had a whole bunch of units. They had nothing for the mental health. I'm like, just make an entire unit, make it a crisis intervention unit that works hand in hand with the psychologist, so that you build a rapport. You guys can go work these cases, these calls for service together. And that way you don't have to call the patrolmen out to do it. You actually have specialized officers that have gone through specialized training, and they work alongside the doctors.
Absolutely. And I think that's a good point, Trey. I mean, we set aside, money for tanks and stuff like that for the police to use, but we don't set aside something for the people when they need, help, especially if they're having a crisis. Now, also, you have to think about this too. A lot of times the media plays a part in sensationalizing some of this stuff. You know what I mean? She could have just watched a video where, people are showing other people getting mowed down, and they're always showing the black folks getting killed by the white folks. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure there's some situations where it's the other way around. But for some strange reason, we have a weird proclivity to watch black people get hunted down like dogs, and they advertise it. You see what I'm saying? And in the mind of some people, like this particular officer, he thought he was going to be justified by getting away with it, But my whole thing is this: we have to take a step back and look and say, hey, look, what are we doing? Sometimes justice just needs to be served, whether it's black or white. You know, in this particular situation, you know, if we take a step back and just look, was race motivated in this particular situation? That's a question that needs to be asked. And then on second thing that needs to be asked, was this due to a lack of training? Was this due to a lack of understanding? Because I'm always going to lean on the side of the person who doesn't have the training, because the person who does have the training has had the training. You know what I'm saying? So we can't expect people who haven't been to police school to comply with something that somebody says, even if they're scared or don't know how to handle themselves emotionally, especially if they're having an emotional or psychotic episode.
So let me ask you a question though. You well, I don't know who's there. You made a statement about race being an issue. We need to know that. Listen, if it is or if it isn't, I'm not passing judgment. I mean, the fact is that regardless, I think he murdered. So if race was an issue or it wasn't an issue, the end result is still the same. Right. I mean, I think the race thing could even cloud it every, make people emotional about the situation. And just looking on face value, if she was a white lady and he did the same thing, or if the question is, would he have done the same thing? Well, that's questionable. But
you know what, Arpain, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, because when I say racist, I'm looking at the back end of situations like this.
Okay.
Come to find out, this guy has been in trouble 6 times before.
Right.
So the racist system that allows him to keep coming back into the force is the racism that I'm talking about, the system itself. I'm not talking about the visual that everybody can see, the obvious. I'm talking about the system that allows him to keep coming back and doing the same thing he does. Because if you think about it, criminals can't do that. They can't keep committing crimes and over and over and over again. Sometimes when you get in there, and that's it. They don't have 3 strikes for police officers. It's on a case-by-case basis. But in this particular situation, he has a history. And my thing is this: nobody questioned his history. And I think that is the opportunity for correction. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about racism, I'm talking about systemic racism. The stuff that allows people like this to continue.
I got you.
Trey, quick question. Are you guys not trained to de-escalate versus escalate?
Of course.
So why don't we, I've seen cops de-escalate things, but I've also seen cops escalate things where it was unnecessary.
Listen, I would be lying to you if I told you that there weren't some certain situations that I've gone in and stoked the fire a little bit, right? We all have it. I've just never done it with mental health consumers. But if there was some D-boys that was getting on my nerves because I done been to the same block 5 times tonight,
and you was about to pick up your food and you got that call.
Yeah, I might have stoked it a little bit because the D-boy is not gonna call the police. I ain't worried about them, right? But I never did that with mental health consumers. I never did that with anybody else. And no, listen. I don't know if he did. We had to take a verbal judo class. You're supposed to try to de-escalate as much as possible. On the use of force continuum, there's a level called cooperative. It's like way at the bottom. It's typically in color blue. Blue, obviously, for cool and calm and all that, right? So you're supposed to try to get them to talk to you. But here's the thing. I didn't see anything from her that would have needed to be, you know what I mean? Like you would have needed to use the verbal judo. Typically, when you use this verbal judo, it's because of the other person. And so you got to bring them down. It's not typically because of the officer. But this was the reverse. He's the one that needed the
He needed it, exactly.
He needed a verbal judo because even when he asked, what's taking you so long to answer the door? That's not, I've never answered that question. I've never asked that question. And I've had people take 10 minutes to open the door. And
officer, I had a gun. I had to hide all the guns and drugs. Give me a chance.
Don't say that.
I know.
But you know what I mean? Like my question was always, are you okay? You good? Because here's what I think. The normal person, if you knock on the door, maybe a minute. If you were to break it down, maybe a minute. If they're in the back of the house, they got to walk to the front of the house. I mean, if they're upstairs, they got to come downstairs. If you account for age and all that, maybe it might take a person about 60 seconds to open the door. Anything past that, I'm actually thinking, are you here alone? Because that's what I think in my head. Are you here alone? Are you by yourself? Are you okay? You know, wink, like send me a signal. You all right here? Because remember what the call was for. What was the call for?
An intruder outside.
So did that person get in the house? Are they in there? Is that what took you so long to answer the door? Right? Like that's how I would have been thinking about it.
Yeah, blink once, twice if you're okay,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Do you need to go sit in my cruiser? That was my favorite line. You want to go sit in my cruiser? Because it got you away from whatever you were in. And if they were like, yeah, I already knew. Okay, something going on. I would tell the officer, go in the back of the house. And I would say, you mind if I sweep your house? You mind if I go in? Yeah, no, go ahead. I did that one time, and the lady told me, she's like, he in the attic. I said, well, damn, okay. And sure enough, he was in the attic. He was exactly where she told us he was. So his behavior from jump was all, the way he asked her, what take you so long to answer the door? He wasn't de-escalating from the beginning. And that to me is why I think that's where majority of the people are the most frustrated. His verbiage, the things he was saying, his behavior, his lack of professionalism. Yeah, he killed her. We got a problem with that too. But it's all the other things that led up to that. I think that most of us are having an issue. It's like, damn, dude, you weren't even, you was on go. You was on go from the beginning.
Yep. He came in hot. He came in hot.
You know what, Trey? Here's the thing. I don't think a lot of people understand that we have our own lingo, and we can see stuff happens before it happens because we're used to dealing with each other. Like if somebody talks to you disrespectful or something like that, it's like, you gonna take that bass out your voice when you talking to me, or you trying to son me? You know what I'm saying? We got our own language. But to people who's not familiar with us and how we do things, when you get a quarter of your peers, it's gonna look completely different to them because they're not us. They're not like us. They don't speak the same language. They don't understand the vernacular, the nuances and how we move. So when he gets in front of a jury of his peers, he might get in front of some folks that say, you know what? I think he felt threatened. She had a boiling pot of lava, hot water, Greek fire, what I'm saying, all up in that thing. You know what I'm saying? She was about to hit him with the oodles and noodles and oxtails. You know how long that was going to take to get that out of his uniform. Foolishness like that. But like I said, man, justice is one of those things, man. You just gotta work with it until it don't work, man. That's what separates us from everyone else. You're innocent until proven guilty. And this guy is in court and he will have his day.
And I'm telling you, this is getting ready to be the hottest pot of water anybody has ever had.
Oh, yes.
The way they're going to describe this water, I'm telling you, when they break this down, they going to describe this water as being, this thing is, it is from the depths of hell hot. It is hot.
That's right. And they're going to be checking the hot water tank. Is it set to 130 degrees?
Did it burn a hole through the floor? They are going to make this, because they don't really have a choice. I will also say this to R. Payne's point. I think this happened so quick. His arrest, the charge happened so quick to avoid the protest and the looting and what we know more than likely was probably going to come. I think they moved quickly so they didn't have those issues. And I gotta be honest with you, R. Payne, all of that makes me nervous. The speed in which they're moving with this makes me a little nervous, because when you move this fast, mistakes can be made prosecutorially. Mistakes can be made when you move this fast. Remember, the defense's job is just to cast doubt. Exactly. They don't actually have to prove him innocent of anything. They just have to cast enough doubt to say, well, maybe she did throw the water, and boom, he's a free man, right? So I'm just being honest. I'm coming from where I'm coming from. I think the speed in which a lot of this is making me a little nervous. I would have liked to see a day or two go by and him having to turn himself in with something. Yeah, you might have had a riot or two, but at least I don't know. I would have felt a little bit more easy about it. I feel uneasy about the charges, the first degree, the second degree.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, this is the fastest I've ever seen a police officer get arrested. Usually they're put on suspension, on desk duty, and all that good stuff. But let me go ahead. My girl Boz is in there. I really wanted a black woman to come on the panel, and I'm so happy that you came, because I need you to tell me, how do you feel about this when you heard about this, Paz? And again, thank you for coming. It's good to see you, and you have been staying in my prayers since we had that conversation.
Yeah.
Tell me, what say you? You have a daughter. What if this was her calling the police and you were on the phone with her and she asked you, Mom, don't hang up? Tell me, what say you?
Well, first of all, I don't believe in when someone asks you to stay with them, you leave them anyway. You know what I'm saying? You don't know why they're even asking you that, or they have to ask you that for a reason. They don't feel safe. And what if the cop didn't have body cam? Well, it's going to be recorded on a dispatch, right? If she stays on the phone with dispatch, that whole thing is being recorded. So, yeah, I'm yeah. So stay with them on that, right? And then it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy when you call for help and you get killed. I mean,
just by you saying it, I'm still getting goosebumps, guys.
People. You know, to me, it's just stupid people with a damn badge. And I'm the first to be like, hey, there are still good cops and stuff like that. I talk up. I speak up on them. I speak good on them. So when you have these type of failures, these trash people with badges, it's like, fuck you. Go somewhere, burn in hell, all that shit.
Do you agree with what Trey said, that whoever hired him and went through the hiring process, that they should get punished as well, because they missed, like my guy here says, Levin Champley said, they missed a lot of red flags. Do any of them deserve any accountability? And everybody on the panel, I already know how Trey feels about it, but what do you guys think about? Does anybody else need to be held accountable for this?
Hell yeah. Even in my department that I was working at, you can tell that they did not go through no process. I mean, they might have sent them to different people, to say that they sent them to them, right? But these people are paid to pass them through. Them psych evals, those doctors are paid to pass them through.
Y'all listening?
Else, you know what I'm saying? So it's not that you can't say that they didn't do the rounds like the rest of them. It's just that they were paid to pass.
Yeah.
So therefore, you still get them hiring anybody, which is anybody is the people who don't deserve it, right? They cannot be trusted with a badge and a gun. So
I hear you. Now we have one last video. It's kind of long, but I want to close out with this video. Then we'll do our final thoughts, because we're trying to we're already over the 2-hour mark, but that's okay. So if you could go ahead and play. Go ahead, honey. What you say?
Speaking on them hiring any and everybody.
Okay.
I clicked on the link to tell y'all this. YouTube has everything. So you can look up, I forgot what the actual search is, right? But it's a video of cops dealing with people with mental issues. And then there's one video where a gas station called the cops because a lady was having an episode. She locked herself in the bathroom and she was having an episode. And they get there and the female cop is up there and say, come out here or I'm going to do this, that, and the other to you. You're supposed to be helping this person. This is what the people at the gas station, people called them for was to get help dealing with this person.
Mm-hmm.
And the cops out there out the door threatening her. Like, who the hell's gonna open the door for that shit? And they were laughing, they were making fun of her in her episode and stuff. It was horrible. So it's just
okay. Was the lady in the bathroom black or white? Or do you think it would have made a difference?
I don't think it would have made a difference. This girl, I'm telling you, this female officer was dumb as hell. Like stupid was stamped on her face. She was stupid. I mean, the partners there with her weren't any better, but she took the cake. Okay, took the cake, ate the whole thing up, and washed it down with some Kool-Aid. Okay, she was stupid.
Damn. See, I know that I would have been the kind of cop that I would talk it out,
right?
You know, and my partner would have been, you know, of course, if it was a female, I would have talked to her and find out what's going on. Are you good? You know, if hopefully I would have had a male partner, he would have just been behind me, backing me up. But you know, you want to feel. I mean, you can't be aggressive when somebody who's already being aggressive. I mean, you can't match fire with fire when you're the one that's trained. You're the one that has the weapon. You're the one that has a club. You got pepper spray. You got so many different other things. But to reach to that first, it's just mind-boggling to me. It's just becoming like the norm now. I mean, I still can't get over the Rodney King situation. It clearly shows on the video that he was getting his ass beat over a traffic stop, and they still got away with it. I still remember the riots. At that time, I was living in St. Petersburg, Florida, and the hood lit up for 3 nights. I was working at the McDonald's in the hood, and we had to shut down the lobby, and we only could take drive-through, and we lost a lot of money. But I don't blame. I mean, how does somebody get away with jumping on a man? And you know what, he got hit 88 times,
right?
I mean, come on, people.
This cop she was banging on the door of the bathroom. You know them bathroom doors are like metal. And they're small. You making all this noise, and you're just making the episode worse. And you're putting her in fear. You know, she just doesn't going through an episode is scary as hell by itself. And then you got some dumbass making it worse.
I think Trey. So I don't give a fuck came back. So what say you, honey? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the panel. Thank you for coming. I know you were being kind of reluctant and hesitant, but it's a safe space here. You know, I'm not saying we're perfect and we don't, you know, get into it with each other. But at the end of the day, we family here. you know, what say you on this? You still there?
You got to take yourself off mute, darling.
Hello.
There you go, loud and clear.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Hello. Hi.
Okay, what was the question?
Just what do you have to say on the whole conversation that we've been having all night? Because I know you've been listening. What do you have to say?
There's a whole bunch I want to say, but I got to keep it YouTube friendly. Where do I start? After 12 first, right? But what the guy did to Sonya was uncalled for. Honestly, I felt like the cop, the cop with what's his name, Sean Grayson, that cop, rather he was asking questions to Sonya, and then his partner was asking questions too, but he kept talking over his partner. And I feel like Sean could have handled it more professionally and show more compassion, kind of, because she was sitting on the couch and she wasn't really doing anything to cause him to really like say, I'm gonna, F and blow your head off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, who goes around talking like that?
Right.
Even a police officer.
Unprofessional.
Very uncalled for. You know, and then for her to go in the kitchen and turn off the stove, and she did not even throw the hot water at him. Honestly, she was holding the pot. Like, I don't know why he felt threatened, literally. And then when he asked his partner, "Is your camera on?" Like, that means he knew he was in the wrong. Like, I think he came in that night wanting to catch a body, literally. You know, and then on top of that too, like, when everything was on camera, he even went out trying to lie, trying to make it seem like she offed herself, like, you know.
Yeah,
and then
I heard that.
Like, he didn't even tell the truth. And then the son is calling the hospital to find out what happened to his mother, and then to find out Sean's fiance worked in that same hospital too, as well. And then they was not telling him who shot the mother or anything. Basically, they was making it seem like he shot him, like she shot herself, basically. And that was just crazy. Like, I guess they was coming up with lies to protect Sean.
Trying to cover it up. Thank God for body cams.
Exactly.
Right.
Once that body camera came on, they seen it. They was just like, it's not looking good for you.
Dumbass.
You know?
Don't hold on. Don't thank God for body cams, because they did not get those body cams for y'all citizens. They're not for y'all.
That's for insurance purposes.
Hey,
y'all do know
they
that,
still
right?
work for us though.
No, they work for you in this case, but in most cases they work against y'all. Those
because they submit it in court as evidence.
Proof. Whether it's used against me or for me, proof is proof.
Well, the problem is that a lot of people would say that the cops were lying. And now we had a body cam footage to say, no, I'm not lying about anything.
Right.
So you guys get hyped about body cams, but just remember, they weren't put there for y'all. You think they would invest? They would invest millions of dollars. Y'all know what it takes to upkeep that body worn camera.
But
system?
Do you think we care?
You have to go out and actually go hire people to actually maintain that footage, and they have to label it. They have to keep up with the cameras and all that. That's $1 million operation. You think they would do that for the citizens?
But do you think we care?
It's not about whether you care. Whether you care is irrelevant. This is the issue. The issue is that you're not paying attention. I'm trying to explain to you that you guys think this shit is being done for y'all. It's not.
I don't care though. It's what I'm saying.
But you
do not care.
You should care.
Nope.
That's your problem.
Because the thing
you
is,
should care.
If the body cam is showing everything that has happened.
No, it doesn't.
Right.
The body cams don't show everything. You think we don't know how to turn our body so the camera can't see things? You think we didn't
tell the other person to turn theirs off?
Yeah, exactly. Like that. What are you talking about?
Oh, my camera was malfunctioning.
Grace, they had to go out and go get special cameras that actually, because the first level of cameras we got only saw forward and like a sort of like a fisheye type of style. Only saw forward. They realized that we was getting too good and knowing how to position our body and all that. They actually went out and bought new cameras that see
with
from
wide
the
angle
side.
lens.
Yeah, they see on the side now too, so that you can have a full 360 coverage. And they still didn't do that for the citizens. That still wasn't for the citizens. It was still for us.
Damn.
Now, Trey, let me ask you this: what would have happened if she had a in-home camera system showing all 4 angles of the corner of that particular room?
Listen, with the way this operation was going, let me tell you what's supposed to happen.
Go ahead.
And then you can make up your determination of what you probably think would have happened. What's supposed to happen is that you're supposed to write up a warrant and go get that information and go get that footage, and it would be submitted into evidence, right?
Right.
Undoctored, unedited, right? Untouched. I don't believe that the way this operation was going and the silly crap was coming out of his mouth post shooting, that this organization, this agency would have been forthright with that. I don't think they would have done it the right way. I think they would have tried to doctor that in some way. Only good thing about the body worn camera footage, you can't doctor it. I know people say, "Oh, they edited." You can't. It's the way. However that system, however they built that system, it literally. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it beeps. Y'all ever hear me go beep beep like that? Now you can turn it off, by the way. I just want to let y'all know that you can turn that off, but most officers don't. That beep beep, it's there on purpose to let you know the camera's on. That's actually for y'all to let y'all know the camera's on. So if you hear the beep beep, right, the red light is for us, so we know that it's on. So what should have happened is they should have went and got that footage if it was there, and it should have been entered into evidence untouched. I just don't believe they would have done that. I believe that they would have tried to say the files are corrupted, or they would have figured something.
Yeah, all the files were fine until we get to this day, in this particular moment. And all of a sudden, we have a failure. We have technical difficulties, you know. I think that speaks for itself, to be honest.
That's crazy.
Yes, Travel One. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that cops can trick the camera angles. Listen, I don't understand what you guys think. Cops are human. Anytime you have anybody, I'm talking about Travel One. Anybody that has, anytime the humans are involved, they're gonna be some fuckery. There's gonna be some fuckery. Like, I don't know why y'all. There's not robots. So yes, Trey, that's exactly what I'm saying. Travel One is that officers figured out how to, because here's the thing. This is the way they used to do it. Lit. They would watch your body. Like say me, you and Arpain were on the scene. They would watch Arpain to say, okay, Arpain saw this. We're gonna ask him about that. And then they would look at yours, Lit, and say, Lit, okay, Lit saw this, so we're gonna ask him about that. And they would look at mine and say, right, Lit, you would learn. I'm not saying you would do this, but you would learn to turn your body away. So I ain't see that. So they can't ask you about it.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Ask me no questions, I'll tell you no lies.
Great, because now you can't say that he's lying, because the only proof you would have had was the body worn camera, but his body worn camera didn't pick that up. So you can't say that he was lying.
See, here's the thing, Trey. They don't understand that cops are trained at catching criminals. So they would probably catch a few things or learn a few things along the way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't think people would take that into consideration. Who you think break the law the most? Exactly. The ones who know about it,
Because you know how to break them and how to get away with them. Hello? All right, so let's go ahead and show this last video. Again, it's a little bit lengthy, but I think it's going to be a good one.
Sonya Massey. I'm going to say her name one more time because I want y'all to understand exactly who I'm talking about when I say her name. Sonya Massey. She just called law enforcement to her residence because of a possible intruder. Of course, officers respond, as we should do. Made contact with her, spoke with her for a little bit, and things turned sideways quickly. It escalated to Miss Massey being unalived by Officer Grayson. Massey went to the kitchen after speaking with the officers and removed water from off the stove. I don't necessarily know if his water was really inside it because I heard her turn on the water at the time she grabbed the pot. But she also made some statements towards the officers. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And this is when the demon come out of the officer. When she said that twice, he immediately said that to put that pot down, he was going to shoot her in the head. From my last 13 years of policing, I never knew water was an escalation of deadly force. Do you understand me? The use of force continuum is always officers have to go up one. Do you understand me? But I want you to understand this particular case right here. Boiling hot water. Let's say if it was real hot boiled water. It's not life-threatening. Yes, it's going to cause some injuries. Nobody wants water thrown on them that's hot. But it's not worth your life either. Do you understand me? And to see that video and to see Miss Massey be unalive because of some water, it's just freaking mind-blowing. It's something always setting us back. Do you understand me? Because we got officers that's out here in the community. We got officers that do their job every day, literally protect and serve. Do you understand me? Every day. We got wonderful people that wear these badges. And then you get this person that happen to have a badge to set us back every time by doing dumb stuff, negligent stuff. It's ignorance. Do you understand me? You're not just affecting you when you make the bad choice. You affect not the families. You affect the law enforcement division itself throughout the world because of the way you responded. I'm making this video because to watch that video happen, it's sad. That should have never, Miss Massey should still be here today, not losing her life because of a pot of water. Do you understand me? And I'm just hoping that other officers see this. And it's never to criticize us as a person. Do you understand me? But I also want y'all to understand that your action reflects all of us. Do you understand me? You are a representation of all of us throughout the world. Your actions determine the next move. And you got to understand, once you build that trust with the community, the last thing you want to do is have a setback. Have people don't want to believe in the police. Kids don't want to be the police anymore. I grew up with people wanting to be the police. But there's so much things that goes on with law enforcement sometimes, and it's real mind-blowing because it shouldn't go down that way. And you know what irks my nerve the worst with this incident is that not only after he allowed her, he lied and said that she charged at him with the hot water. We saw the video. She did not charge at him. He didn't, after the whole incident when he was outside, he called out her name. He said she was a crazy bee. Okay. And you know what put the cherry on the top? He was not recording. His body camera was not recording. Anytime you're dealing with the public, your body camera need to be rolling. Listen, it protects you just as much as it protects that citizen. Do you understand me? Thank God the other officer had his camera on, because no telling how the narrative could have been spun. We seen a slight spin on it of him being charged at. However, just picture the escalation it could have been if nobody had their cameras on. You could tell the other officers was a little bothered. If you look at the reflection hard enough from the door, you could see him holding his head. And then when he asks, should he go ahead and get the first aid kit, Officer Grayson discouraged him from getting that because this was a headshot. Really? A headshot that should have never happened. I get tired of talking about deep stuff like this when it's involving us, man. Because I'm big on the community. I love people. I love helping people. People say, why do I love my job so much? Because I love helping people. Yes, it's a basic answer, but it's the truth. Do you understand? That's from my heart. It's a lot of us like that in this world. Do you understand me? A lot of us. And then to see stuff like this happen, man, it's sad. Justice for Ms. Massey. That's all I want. She deserved that at least. She deserved it. I hope that she get the justice that she deserves. Because she should have been here today. Officers out there, I want you to understand, your action reflects on all of us throughout the world. Your actions breaks that trust with the community, the citizens. Do you understand me? I'm out, y'all. I love y'all. Everyone that just support us in general, law enforcement, hang in there with us, man. It's a lot of us out here that wear this badge and do a lot of good. A lot of good. But I make videos like this also to, yes, we holding them accountable. I want you to understand that we're not overlooking the messed up officers that do messed up stuff. I'm gonna leave with this. Justice for Ms. Massey.
And that's it, folks. I really wanted to play that video. It was an African-American officer. He spoke from the heart. I mean, I know it seems that I'm going towards the law enforcement side, and that's not it at all. But at the end of the day, we still need our officers. So we're going to close out with final thoughts. Lit, thank you for showing that video. We'll start with R. Payne, Joshua, Lit, and then, of course, we'll close out with Trey because he is the most qualified on this panel to talk about what's going on. And Trey, you got a lot of thank yous in the chat for coming up and giving the value and adding value to this conversation. So R. Payne, Insane in a Membrane, go ahead.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, and then my girls, y'all go with me after the gentleman. Well, Trey, you'll be last so you can close out. What say you, your final thoughts? And I love that point that you added about the first degree. That was good. Go ahead. What say you?
Hey, listen, it's it's nothing more to be said. I just like to see the process go ahead and keep moving forward. It'd be interesting to hear what kind of defense this guy might try to have, but it's going to be real important to get the right kind of jury. And I'm gonna do some digging because I hope that the DA has lesser charges, but besides just first degree murder. Because if he doesn't, or she, I don't know who the DA is, whoever the prosecutor is going to be. If they don't, I think the fix is in. I mean, we can sit down here and you might have a whole bunch of Joshua ones you're going to have to voir dire off that jury, right? So all you need is just one. And then this guy walks free, and then we're back to square one. We're back to square one. So we'll see. But in the meantime, I think everybody should just let's see how the process plays out. Conversation, yes, but we don't need any more than that right now because the process is in motion.
I know that's right, Arpine. Thank you again. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your valuable insight. I really do appreciate you, Mr. Payne. All right, Josh. I mean, what say you? You said a lot. You put a lot of links in the back chat for Supreme cases. You're seeing what other officers are saying. Trey, the guy in the video, a pot of water does not constitute a gunshot wound to the head. What say you?
I claim it does, and I'm gonna say this straight out. At the end of the day, you hold something in your hand, cop tells you to put it down, and you don't. And now in Miss Massey's case, yeah, she put the pot down. I wish we could actually play the video. She put the pot down. Yes, she did. Then she went down to her knees. Yes, she did. Then she got up off of her freaking knees and went for the pot again. She threw that dadgum pot. And at the end of the day, we're all sitting here like, oh, the feelings, the pot can't justify a killing. I'm sorry. This is how it is. You don't want cops in your house? Don't call them. If you actually pretend like you care about people, care about them. Do it. Get off the internet. Stop with this whole crap like, oh, look for somebody to be a martyr for whatever words you want to say. Her neighbors, why didn't they come out and check out her property from some intruder kind of thing, right? Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, the internet's going to use her as a name, which is fine. I wish we could play the video. I really wish we could play the video, but YouTube's not real big fan of that whole, like, often people on camera. That's a big no-no kind of thing. I encourage you guys to go look for the video, and you'll find it. There are some unedited versions as well. I prefer the unedited or the edited versions because I need the whole like water thing. That's the question. One of the evidences is the water on the floor. That's a problem. Now back on the concept of the legal standing for cops are there to preserve and protect life. In the back chat, I produced a Supreme Court ruling. Cops are not legally obligated to protect or preserve your life. You want them to, that's fine. That's all policy. If you've got a problem with it, then go change the laws and demand that cops are legally obligated to it. Like all your guys are doing is just basically feelings. I feel somebody got shot over a pot of water and I'm upset. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a damn about your feelings, period. And the fact that you're going to march on these feelings is why this is going to continue. Probably get worse over time. At least I hope it does. Anyways, my time's out. Hey, R-Pain, was that mean enough for you? Did I? You took a shot like I wanted to wear it out. Anyways, y'all take care.
Thank you for coming, Josh. We appreciate you no matter how extreme your views are, but we got to listen to all sides of the views. And I appreciate you. I'll agree to disagree gracefully. That's all I can say, you know, in my soft and lovely voice.
I'm glad he said what he said, because this is who the police departments are hiring. So I'm glad he said what he said. These are the guys that's in your neighborhood. These are the guys I had to sit in the cruisers with. This is how they think. They don't give a damn about you. They don't care nothing about you. They you had your time, Josh.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
You had your time.
You're actively trying to recruit me.
You had your time. I didn't interrupt you. Fact of the matter is that they gonna pull policy on you. I would like for Josh to show me where in their training you're taught to shoot somebody in the head. Take your time, Josh. Go find me a Supreme Court ruling on that.
There's no law that says where a cop can.
Absolutely, because you're not trained to do it.
Center mass.
Sure. Except for she was in a kneeling position coming up when she got fired upon. Her body mass was that's what it was.
You can make whatever fucking excuse you want to, Josh.
You can look at the body camera and it'll show how that angle was made
better at night. That's great. But I'm telling y'all, y'all that are in these neighborhoods, this is where they hiring. They going to Mississippi to go get them. They going to South Carolina to go get them. Tennessee, West Virginia, good old boys, Alabama. This is where they go. They're going to go get them. They're going to put them, they're going to insert them right in your neighborhood. I know because I worked with them. I did 17-day suspension because guys like Josh, I punched in the face in a locker room because he decided to go take his racist ass up into the hood and go say some things he shouldn't have.
Damn, racist.
We got into it. I did 17 days. He did 33. Damn. I'm glad Josh is saying it for y'all though. I want y'all to hear it.
Yeah. Is that why you're not an officer anymore?
No, I'm not an officer anymore because my time was up and I didn't want to do it anymore, so I left. Had nothing to do with anything other than that, and I was making more money outside of it. Nice try, though, Josh. I can understand that part. Nice try, though, Josh, because I didn't need the retirement. That's why.
Why were you beating up on other cops?
What?
You said you
Josh,
punched somebody in the locker room?
No, Josh. I would beat up on cops like you.
Oh, yeah.
Like you. Guys like you who take that mentality into the neighborhoods that I grew up with. Yeah, guys like you. I destroy you in the locker room.
Why is your neighborhood calling for assistance? Like why
it doesn't matter why they're calling. They're calling. You have a fucking job to do because you put a badge on and you took an oath. Go do your fucking job.
There's no legal obligation to do.
Guys like you, Josh, are the problem. You're the problem. You're not the solution.
No, you're the problem because you want the policy to become law.
You're not local because you wouldn't make it. You would not have made it with us.
I get it. Why is county?
I'm done, Grace. You can move on to the ladies. I'm done with him. Oh. He's a piece of trash for what he said.
Oh, I'm not done yet.
Oh. Well, let's get the ladies in, and then well, Trey, are you done with your final thoughts, or
no? That wasn't my final thought.
Okay,
I want y'all to see. This is what they hire. I'm dead serious. I'm not playing around. This is what they hire. Guys that want to pull policy on you. I shot you in the head because the law says I could.
Facts.
You're the one claiming for policy. There's no legal obligation for protection. A cop does not legally. I posted the Supreme Court ruling.
But doesn't on the squad car say "protect and serve"?
It's a motto from 1962 in LA. It's basically like feel-good wordings for a motto. It means nothing.
Wow.
You sound ridiculous.
Holy shit. Boz, go ahead and give me your final thoughts.
Go ahead and get the women out the way. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Boz, go ahead and give me your final thoughts. Then I don't give a fuck. Go ahead and give me your final thoughts. Then we'll go with Lit, and then we'll close out with Trey. But guys, we are drumming up the conversation, and that is the point. And like I said at the beginning of the show, in this network, in my channel, and all the great content creators, we have good intentions. We want to do better, and that's why we do what we do. But go ahead, Boz. What say you on your final thoughts?
Well, the last cop that spoke speaks to what I was saying, what I was explaining about the cameras. I don't care that they were bought to protect officers and stuff like that. When the public says they're lying and stuff, if it's if the video is playing, it's gonna work for me as well. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't deny trash is gonna be trash. Okay. They're gonna do their little tricks and stuff with the camera, like you said, right? But I'd rather have something than nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And IDGAF, what say you? I know you had a lot more to say and you're trying to hold some restraint, but you'll get used to us. You'll see that this is a safe place. What say you?
You got to take yourself off mute.
You hear me now?
Yes,
Yep.
Go ahead.
All right. First, my message is for Josh. Your actions pose a serious risk to our community, literally. Law enforcement officers like you have a responsibility to protect everyone equally, but your behavior suggests otherwise. And literally, what you said about Sonya is disgusting. Like Trey just asked you, is a headshot okay for you? And you just literally beat around the bush, like putting this BS community law.
Would you like me to
bullshit.
say it? She deserved to die. She attacked a cop. She deserved to die. Period. I'll say it flat out.
How
about
did
that?
she? How did
she attack?
Wait.
She look at the video. She went back for the pot. She was in the kneeling position. She came up and grabbed the pot and threw it at the cop.
Bring your receipts, sir.
Listen, don't talk over
It's
me.
in the video.
But
Would you like to shot
let me
video
say
game?
Play
the video. Play the video, Grace.
Go against someone.
I have the I have the video lit. It's the first video of the newscast. I mean, we could watch it again if you guys want.
Grace, we're not going to play that.
Okay.
Out of respect for Miss Massey.
You're wicked. You're wicked. That's right. You're wicked. Back in the video. You're wicked. Amen.
And she deserved to get shot. Oh, you like? Do you wear glasses? Did you not see the video?
Yes, I saw the video. She
So
was in
why
the
is your
kneeling
man- so why is
position.
your man-
She went up from the kneeling position to grab the pot. The pot came out of her hand. Cop shot.
So
you
okay.
attack a cop,
So
you
you-
get
so you-
killed. That's how it is.
So you
Let me
saw her
explain
grab
something right quick. When you are trying to have people see what you saw,
Grasping
you
for straws.
It's in the back chat. You can all click the link.
It's in the back chat. Okay.
We just can't play it here because I'm pretty sure it's a YouTube violation. Like,
Well,
on
I'm just
YouTube,
saying
take no
that's what people be talking about when they say bring the receipts. You bring the exact link that you're talking about because
It's in
if
the back
someone's
chat.
doing a strike-
I posted
know
it
what
for
you're saying.
everybody.
I know what you're saying. Just in general, when people ask for receipts, it's best that you bring your receipts and stuff. People
I
doing their
did.
work.
It's in the back chat.
Right.
I'm kind of retarded.
Would you like me to post it in like the main chat? I mean, that technically, I don't think that's allowed either. I don't think so.
Shut the fuck up. When niggas slap fire out.
None of that. Let's let I don't give a fuck finish her final thoughts.
She was on her way, you know. Yeah.
Like,
You know, Josh, you could drop me a cash up just because you know.
Drop you a cash app for what?
Just because, damn it.
What does that mean?
Means just because.
just because. This is exactly.
We already have a nigger mayor. We don't need any more nigger big shots.
Is that you, Josh?
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Woo!
My boy, boy.
I do. You got some more? You got your breath yet? Go
I
ahead.
think BMU emptied the clip on that one, man. Listen.
Go ahead, Lit.
Yeah, because I don't give a fuck. Has disappeared, and I think she said what she needed to say.
Yeah.
Let me explain something to y'all if y'all don't realize the purpose of the Second Amendment. You know, the purpose of the Second Amendment is for the people to handle business when the government gets out of hand. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is this: there are a lot more people on the streets than there are police. And I don't think that the police realize that. You see what I'm saying? I don't think they do. And that's the main reason why they teach you in Sunday school, an eye for an eye ain't gonna leave us both blind. You see what I'm saying? That's the reason why cooler heads should prevail. You know, just because you can delete somebody doesn't mean you should. And my whole thing is this returning fire and then trying to justify it. That really doesn't endure or put other people in a safe position, because what it does, it puts all the officers in harm's way. Good officers like Trey and this other gentleman in the video will have to go out into the streets and contend with that. Now, here's the thing. What if someone saw this nice gentleman or somebody like Trey performing their duties as officers, and they say, you know what? I saw what y'all did to Miss Massey. I'm going to take you out. Well, guess what happens? Trey's daughter loses her daddy. You see what I'm saying? And those are the things that we don't take into the consideration. This young man who was just on the video has a family as well too. So the whole purpose of the law is to make sure that we have order and not to elicit retribution for how we feel about somebody else because of our inadequacies.
Did you hear what I said?
My whole thing is this: if you're feeling inadequate about who you are and you feel like you need to dominate someone, serving the public should not be your profession.
Oh, facts.
If you feel like you can't protect those around you and yourself, or if you feel like you're scary, then you probably should not be protecting.
Did you hear what I said?
And serving. My whole thing is this: if you feel like you can't do that, then you don't have the privilege to serve the people. Those who actually know how and who have a love for serving the people should only be the ones allowed to serve the people because they have a vested interest. Those who all have an agenda to make sure that they dominate and let folks know, I'm gonna keep my boot on your neck. Those people have no place in serving the people. And my whole thing is this: we talked about, racism, that in your face racism. We've dealt with that before. My whole thing is this: it's the racism that we don't see that we need to address. Why does this man keep getting jobs, performing badly? You know what I mean? I don't know about y'all, but if I kept messing up, I couldn't keep my job. You know what I mean? They would probably let me go. So my question to most people: how do we fix that? How do we solve that solution? My whole thing is this: until we address that, we're going to continue to have more Sandra Blands. We're going to have more Miss Masseys. We're going to have more Trayvon Martins. You know what I mean? Until we actually address that. So I don't care whether or not you like me or not, but the bottom line is this: you don't want the results of when I don't give a damn anymore.
Did you hear what I said?
You don't want the results of when people don't care anymore. Because last time I checked, we're in America and we have the right to bear arms, not to shoot each other, but to point the gun at tyranny, those who seek to destroy the people. And I'm gonna leave it right there.
Amen.
Awesome. So with my closing out, I did this video because it was necessary and it was requested. The fact that melanated people are twice as likely to get shot fatally by a police officer needs to change, people. My son should be able to walk outside the house and not think about that situation. Trey's daughter, when she gets older, should be able to go anywhere, not worried about getting pulled over because she was driving a nice car. We should be able to live freely and move around freely like Joshua does and doesn't have a worry in the world. But it's still not like that in 2024. And the shit that this happened in an election year, they're going to milk it.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to milk it.
Yeah.
So people, I urge you to do your research. I urge you to exercise Amendment 2 because I love Amendment 2. The show last night. Oh, yeah. Like I told everybody in the chat, my daddy taught me how to use a weapon since I was 9 years old. Trey, I know about what you said about doing single women not doing. I do that every night on my hiding place. And my daddy taught me to have weapons in every room of the house because you never know when it's going to go down. So we got to do a better of protecting ourselves and protecting each other in the melanated community. Okay, because they're not going to do it for us. Because like Trey said, we got a lot of Joshes on the police force. And yeah, we may outnumber police officers, but they're the ones with the guns. They're the ones that got the policies on their side. They're the ones that got the union on their side. So we just got to do better of taking care of each other, embracing each other's safety. Let's get back to it takes a village. You know, when are we going to get back to that? So with that being said, guys, I really do appreciate you guys coming on tonight.
Trey, hold on a second, baby.
Go ahead.
Trey, did you want to finish out, sir?
Oh, yeah, that's right, Trey. I'm sorry. You were the final one. Trey, go ahead and take it home for us.
Listen, for me, justice never ends with a prison sentence. True justice comes with change in general orders, tactics, and training that reflect better policing. Anytime that I was on a police department and we had the lieutenant would come down, we already knew it was some bullshit too, lit, because here come all the white shirts. Oh shit, what's going on? That meant that something just got changed. That's what it meant. And somebody was coming to read us new general orders that you can't do this anymore, or you can do this now. And it was typically on the heels of a lawsuit. To me, in order to rightfully serve justice to this woman, the tactics and training have to be different. Not only that, the hiring practices have to be different. And I stand 10 toes down. Every single person that has something to do with that guy being hired needs to suffer some sort of consequence, because you could not have done your due diligence. There's no way. 6 different departments in 4 years. I don't know a bigger red flag. And why you would put a badge and a gun on a man who can't stay with one department over 4 years is crazy to me. Now, let me be very clear. Officers leaving departments, that's not unheard of. That's not abnormal, okay? You can bounce because sometimes you just want to get in. Sometimes you're just trying to get in. And once you get in the system, that's like it's always easier to transfer to lateral somewhere else. So that's not abnormal. 6 in 4 years is abnormal. That's abnormal. That's not normal at all. So every single person that has something to do with that man being hired, I think they should also suffer some sort of consequence. At minimum, they should lose their job.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, if we're going to do this the proper way, and I'm going to go watch this video, but I don't remember ever being taught to shoot someone in the head. Just never happened.
Man, I watched a video that said snipers don't shoot in the head. We get all that shit from the movies.
Well,
shots.
We were trained, like I said, if you could confirm body armor. If you could confirm body armor, yes, you could do 2 to the body, 1 to the head. But that was the only situation, and that's quite rare. Maybe in a bank robbery, that might happen.
Right.
You know?
This lady had on a house dress, man. She had on a moo-moo.
Yeah, on an active shooter situation, maybe. But, going to someone's home, more than likely there was no need. And the fact that he told her he was going to do it.
Right.
His behavior, his lack of professionalism, his aggressive nature, it's all wrong. And I just want to say, I know a lot of good officers. I worked with a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I really did. This is not indicative of majority of the police officers.
Mm-hmm.
It really is not. It is not indicative of them. I understand it. And I was gonna end with this. I remember after George Floyd, I was still on the department after George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember how people treated us. And they were angry and they were pissed, and they had every right to be. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I was on guard.
Yeah.
I was on guard because I'm like, anybody could lose it tonight. Especially the very night that it came out. Anybody could go off on me tonight just because of what they saw and because emotions were running so high. Remember that when you're dealing with officers after these situations happen, that they're on guard.
Yeah.
They're on guard. And I'll end with this. You have been conditioned to trust officers. Officers have not been trained to trust you.
Well, now people are conditioned not to trust officers no more.
Nope, that's not true. You still are conditioned to trust officers. Even in the schools, they still teaching y'all to trust the police.
Yep, absolutely. Well, like, Trey, again, thank you for, I was praying that you'd come on tonight, and I really appreciate it. But one thing that I really pulled out on this video, this was demonic, guys. I don't know if wherever spiritual space you at in your journey, but the fact that she said twice, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, that triggered that man's spirit in a demonic way. And it's crazy that some of y'all don't see that. That's not normal. That's not normal for a police officer. So all I'm saying is protect each other, protect yourself, and stay safe out there. Don't make sure you don't miss our show tomorrow night. BMU and Lit, Lost in Translation, is going to be a good one. We'll be here 8:30 Central Time. You know, BMU Network is working for you guys every day, every night. We got something going on. Don't forget to support the content creators on the network as well. Again, thank you very much for everybody showing up. I appreciate you. And until next Monday night's Mayhem, I'll see you then. Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Bye-bye.